of champions.
Oh, it's CC time on a Thursday afternoon in New York City. The big man will be on the mound. It is a picture-perfect postcard day here at Yankee Stadium as the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. The defending world champion New York Yankees against the Seattle Mariners in the final game of a three-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kay. The Yankees are in the position now of trying to salvage the final game of a three-game set. Why? Because they've run into great pitching. Cliff Lee and last night Felix Hernandez, they were great.
You know, they're not only great for a Seattle Mariners team, these two guys are premier guys in baseball. You have a guy second in the American League in strikeouts in Felix Hernandez. You see his numbers, very dominant, 11 strikeouts. And then the first game of this series, third in the American League in ERA, Cliff Lee. Front-end guys, very tough for those Yankee hitters.
Speaking of pitching, let's look at today's New York Lottery pitching matchup. It's Ryan Roland Smith going for the Mariners, 1-7, 6.18. CC Sabathia, he's been on a roll for the Yankees, 9-3, 3.49. His last start Friday against the Dodgers, Al, he was dealing.
He really was. It started off a big series in L.A. on Friday night, as you say, Michael. You know, what I love about CC, I think he throttles it when he can. He's got the explosive fastball, great slider, 8 innings, only 1 run, 7 strikeouts, dominant. Here against Vincent Padilla, the opposing pitcher, ended up hitting him. And prior to that, Padilla hit Cano. As a pitcher, you recognize at times maybe there's something going on. You got to protect your team. But as you say, Michael, very dominant stuff all the way around. Nice start for CC. Also, very good June, 5-0.
He's been unbelievable in that game. He really did step it up. Now, in terms of pitching at home, loves home cooking. Last 14 starts at the stadium, 10-0, 2.10. The opponent's hit under 200, and he's only allowed 5 home runs. But check it out. Almost a year ago to this day, July 2nd of 2009, the Mariners beat him. That's his last home loss. Yankees have not had that many losses this year. It's turned into a pennant race, though, in the American League East. Yankees, Red Sox, and the Rays. We'll go down to the field and talk about that race in just a moment on segment 2. Next.
Are you free for a free fall or to redefine weekend warrior? Here, you're free to run and soar and so much more. Plan your getaway at visitwilliamsburg.com.
Lots of alternative energies out there, like solar and wind power.
That gave us the idea for Ocean Spray Cran Energy Juice Drink. It's a better-for-you energy drink because it's made with the great-tasting goodness of real cranberries.
And we added green tea for extra energy. That's one tasty energy source.
Cran Energy Cranberry Energy Juice Drink. The great-tasting, better-for-you energy drink.
Are you free to be one with nature or one of thousands in the revolution? Here, you're free to discover and laugh and so much more. Plan your getaway at visitwilliamsburg.com.
Welcome to segment 2, everybody. We're moments away from the first pitch of the Yankees-Mariners, a rubber game of this three-game set. And the weather's so nice we decided to come out on the field. That's Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kay. Well, July 1st is usually a signpost during the season. Where are the teams? Well, the teams that you care about, the Yankees are in first place, the Red Sox are a game back in second, and the Tampa Bay Rays are 2 games behind the Yankees. So it's tightly scrunched up, Al. Obviously, Tampa got out to that early lead. Where do you think it stands right now?
I think it's what everybody thought, really, Michael. As Tampa Bay started out early, they really made other teams, I think, look older. I mean, they got the athleticism. I think it's going to hold up, but I really think this. It's going to come down to the end. And finally, in a division, the last 19 games that the Yankees play, 13 of them will be against both Tampa Bay and the Red Sox. I think it's exciting. They're going to finish out the season wedged between Toronto Blue Jays, which hasn't been a pushover this year. I think it's exciting, but I think it's kind of playing out as everybody thought.
And you know what's really interesting? If you look at the guy that might change pennant races, Cliff Lee, I would say that of those 3 teams in the East, none of them are going to acquire Cliff Lee because none of them really need a starter.
You know what? I would say that would be true up until I think with what the Red Sox, with Buchholz, who had a little hamstring. They don't know when Josh Beckett's coming back, so I would agree with that. Here it doesn't seem to fit. The starters have been great, certainly down in Tampa, but that would be, to me, the wild card.
July 1st, it's going to be unbelievable. It looks like it's going to be a great race, and as Al said, a lot of them go head-to-head in September. When we come back, lineups, first pitch baseball, coming up next, right here on Yes.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Is having a snowball fight with pitching great Randy Johnson a bad idea?
Sorry, man. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, you just winged me.
Think anybody's gonna notice that?
Yeah, probably. Maybe we should just go sledding.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
The 2009 New York Yankees are world champions.
Come out to Yankee Stadium in 2010 to see the 27-time world champion New York Yankees in action. Don't miss the 4th of July at Yankee Stadium when the Yankees take on the Blue Jays, as the first 18,000 fans 14 and younger will receive a set of 27-time world champions ice cream bowls, courtesy of Turkey Hill. In 2010, come home to Yankee Stadium, the home of champions.
When you're strong-willed, you do it your own way. When you're uncompromising, second best never crosses your mind. When you're set in your ways, you stay true to yourself. If you can drink to that, we've got a beer with your name on it. Coors, the banquet beer.
Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by the Vermont Department of Tourism. Your next Green Mountain adventure begins at VermontVacation.com. By the 2010 Honda Clearance, it's the only thing from Honda that won't last. And by IOTV. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV. Clouds overhead, but a beautiful day here in New York City. Big crowd filing into the ballpark. Yankees have taken the field, and CC Sabathia taking his warm-ups. Why don't we take a look at the Mariners starting lineup, which is presented, as always, by our very good friends at Lexus. The Mariners come in at 33 and 44. And they will lead off their shortstop, Ichiro Suzuki. Sean Figgins at second will bat second. Batting third and playing first base, Russell Branyan. Milton Bradley, the DH, cleans up. Batting fifth and playing third base, Jose Lopez. Josh Wilson at shortstop. Ryan Langerhans is at left field. Josh Bard will catch. He's going to bat eighth, and batting ninth and playing center field is Michael Saunders.
On the mound, the 29-year-old big left-hander, CC Sabathia. Be making his 17th start. What a nice year for CC. Coming off a great start in Los Angeles, the 8 innings, the 4 hits, 1 run. Very good hits to inning ratio, 108 innings, 103rd of innings, 228 batting average against. Dominant at times, 9-3 record, very respectable.
CC is ready. Ichiro, who hits CC well, he is ready. And let's do it. Here in the Bronx, as the big left-hander deals a strike on the inside corner, we're underway.
Let's take a look at the scouting report. Well, I said he's on a roll. In June, he's 5-0, and Yankee Doodle Dandy, 28-11 in 50 regular season starts. Only Ron Guidry and David Cohn had better records. And both sides of the plate, when he used that fastball in, slider in on the righty.
High fly ball center field. Granderson is there. 1 out.
And for as good a stuff as he has, as dominant as anybody in the game, when he goes on both sides, I love his little two-seamer changeup away. Very tough for any hitter to hit.
Here's Sean Figgins. Now, we also told you that CC has not lost a game here at the stadium since July 2nd of last year against Seattle. And at the new Yankee Stadium, overall 12-2, 2.98. pitch to Figgins outside, 1-0.
Yeah, but when you look at the numbers, and you mentioned them in the name of the Yankee greats of Ron Guidry and what David Cohn did when he first came here, you know, there's an atmosphere here, of course, it's different than no other place. And Yankee Stadium, New York City, certainly has thrived here.
There's a strike. You know, CeCe's been asked lately so much about LeBron James because he's a friend with LeBron from their Cleveland days. And that's popped up to right field. Coming on is Swisher, and he makes the play on the run for the second out. Let's quickly look at the Yankees defense, brought to you by Mercedes. Swisher's in right, Granderson in center, and Gardner is back in the lineup and in left field. Let's go the other way in the infield. Pena, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira third to first. Pena's at third. A-Rod is the DH today. Posada behind the plate. Sabathia on the mound. And I said, well, how did the Yankees recruit you? He said, well, they didn't have to sell me on the Yankees. He said, obviously, that was a no-brainer. He said, what they sold me on was pretty much the city, and they showed the areas around the city where it'd be great to raise a family. He said that was really it. They didn't have to come and convince me about how great the Yankees are. And he said, I don't think that on the LeBron situation that they really have to show him about the city. He knows about the city, and he likes that. He said they have to show him what they're going to be doing as a team.
Boy, that is so right. There are so many players that come into New York that don't see anything but Manhattan.
High fly ball, center field. And Granderson will make the play. A 7-pitch, 1-2-3 inning as Branyan is retired. So it's the Mariners nothing. And the Yankees coming to bat here on Yes.
The before, the expectation, the B vitamins and carbs to ignite. The during, the collision, the power, the original Gatorade. The after, the gratitude, the protein to recover. Introducing the G Series from Gatorade, Prime, Perform, Recover.
Performance. Is it speed, power, or is it something more comprehensive? The Lexus GS350 outperforms the European competition in not only horsepower, but also in powertrain warranty and 0 to 60 time. So if you're considering a performance car, you may instead want to consider an outperformance car. Now for a limited time, lease the 2010 GS350 all-wheel drive for $499 a month for 36 months with $41.98 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
Well, the Mariners go down on 7 pitches, 1-2-3. Now let's take a look at the Yankees starting lineup, which is presented by Lexus. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, getting out of a bad month of June. He leads off, batting second and playing right. Nick Swisher, Mark Teixeira's at first. Alex Rodriguez cleans up and DHs. Robinson Cano, the second baseman, bats fifth, batting sixth and catching. Jorge Posada. Curtis Granderson in center field will bat seventh. Batting eighth and playing left field, Brett Gardner. And Ramiro Pena at third base will bat ninth.
The young left-handed pitcher Ryan Roland Smith, 27 years old, been around a little bit. Be his 17th game, 14th start. Here's a guy that may be pitching for a spot in the rotation. Eric Bedard, talk about him coming back to see the high ERA, 1-7 record. Certainly not a good season so far. Let's take a look at the scouting report. No road worry. 0-7 with a 7.11 ERA and 11 starts. Mr. Sunshine much better in the daytime, 1-1 with a 3.55 as opposed to nighttime, 0-6 with a 7.78 ERA. And down under, he's from Sydney, Australia. He's a big surfer. His nickname is Sand Hill Warrior. His older sister's a professional surfer. And he just talks about how much pride he's taken as a guy that's made it to the big leagues as an Australian.
Wow, that was some really in-depth scouting report.
Rihanna, his older sister, professional surfer.
Here's Derek Jeter. Pitch is low. Now, Al, you were talking about the point about most guys don't know about New York.
You know, I've played with guys, Michael, believe it, why not, that wouldn't leave the hotel in Midtown. Most of the teams, stay in a hotel nearby.
That's off the foot of Ryan Roland Smith, and Derek Jeter has an infield hit.
And obviously growing up in this area, there's such beauty in the suburbs, but it does take a player who really does an explorer outside of Manhattan to come and see, all the different suburban aspects of what goes on in New York City and the nearby surrounding towns. And I think a lot of guys are impressed with that when they do come and they explore outside of the island.
Got him on the bottom of the left foot. Actually, the bottom of the foot. Very odd. Slowed it down, but no chance there for Josh Wilson. So Jeter's on base, and here's Swisher. That's Jeter's 21st infield hit. And by the way, Jeter is glad to be out of June. He had 243 in June, 25 for 103. And that's his second lowest average since the 172 in April of 2004. So a subpar month for Derek, who ended up at 283 at the end of June. There's another base hit. Left center field. Cutting over Saunders. Cuts the ball off in the gap. Jeter goes to third. Swisher's at second with a double. So 2 hard hit balls against Ryan Rowland-Smith. Well, the Yankees are certainly testing out the Mariner defense. Let's take a look at it. It's brought to you by Mercedes. You've got Langerhans in left, Saunders in center, and Ichiro is in right. Infield, Lopez, and we've got Josh Wilson today at short. Not Jack, Josh Wilson at short. Figgins at second, Branyan at first, and Bardby on the plate. And Rowland-Smith is on the mound.
You know, I know, Michael, you know, certainly Yankee fans know what Nick Swisher has been providing to this offense. A guy that really's filled in at the 2 spot where they assumed that Nick Johnson would have been. You know, there's key guys in the lineup, and he's really been invaluable along with Robinson Cano.
And the pitch to Teixeira is low, 1-0. Mark has an 11-game hitting streak, during which time he has 12 hits. So 273 during the hitting streak. He's at 231. That one's fouled back. Those are the numbers I just mentioned. And 3 home runs during the hitting streak. Yankees trying to avoid their first sweep in a 3-game set since July 10th, 11th, and 12th in Anaheim last year. Slow roller to Josh Wilson. That's going to score Jeter. The throw to first. The Yankees lead 1-0. Not the perfect ground out, because the perfect ground out would have been to the right side, so that Swisher would have gone to third.
Yeah, well, with the infield back, obviously it still produces a run because of it, but I think, you know, obviously the different pitcher today with Ryan Rowland-Smith. It was hard for the Yankees to get anything going other than Nick Swisher off of Cliff Lee in the first night. But this is the kind of thing where you can produce a run early, put up a crooked number or 2 early in the game, apply some pressure to the opposing team's offense.
Well, the Yankees have scored first, and they are 30-7 this year when they score first. Month of June for the Yankees, 16-10. But of some concern is their batting average during the month, 245. And they're a better hitting team than that. Their on-base percentage was pedestrian as well at 333. Then you look at the Red Sox. They were 18-9 in June, and they hit 298. So they are hitting better than the Yankees. That's what the Yankees have done in the first 3 months, all winning months, continuing to build. 1-1. Foul back, 1-2.
It's still about scoring runs, Michael, as you know, and they're second to the Red Sox. Yes, there are moments where, you know, the middle lineup, certainly we've talked enough about Teixeira. Alex Rodriguez really hasn't had the year that he's had in the past. I think they have enough offensively, and really it comes back to the starting pitch. You know, when you have guys that have been doing what those 5 pitchers have been doing, basically, has been holding them in the game. Unlike a Seattle lineup, and it didn't show during this series because they hit the ball well, but they also have a nice starting rotation, 3rd in the American League. We saw a couple of the best pitchers in the American League in this series. But you have to have the balance, of course, of quality starting pitcher will keep any team in any game.
Just missed with the fastball. Cliff Lee started this 3-game set with a complete game, and then Felix Hernandez yesterday, another complete game. You know, with Jeter's infield single and then the double by Swisher, 2 batters, and the Yankees matched how many hits they had all of last night. And one of those hits was bogus, a pop-up by Colin Curtis that got lost in the twilight by Sean Figgins. So the Yankees really had 1 hit last night against Hernandez. 2-2. Count 3-2.
Wow, it's not a flash alert. Obviously, what Felix Hernandez possessed stuff-wise across the board. Ryan Rowland-Smith not having the year that the Mariners would have liked. It's certainly not the same type of pitchers. Command issue. And stuff. I talked to Rick Adair. You know, every pitcher kind of have to know who you are. And some pitchers, I think Ryan Rowland-Smith in a position in his career, 27 years old, you have to know the stuff that you possess. And sometimes Ryan Rowland-Smith will end up overthrowing and be more of a thrower than realizing pitching, keeping the ball down.
Swing and a miss. So he got A-Rod to chase a pitch out of the zone for the second out. Let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Bigelow Tea. 73 degrees, 25% humidity. Wind is 11 miles per hour. And the forecast, it's partly cloudy, high in the mid-70s. We'll take that. Weather's been great.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's supposed to be very nice weather for the July 4th weekend, which unofficially will begin tomorrow and wrap around through Monday on July 5th. Here's Robinson Cano leading the major leagues with a .353 batting average, leading American League second baseman in the All-Star voting. And All-Star voting ends today. Pitch is high. Why don't we take a look at the scouting report on Cano, brought to you by Home Depot.
Well, I said calendar year, most hits in Major League Baseball for this past year, 219. Ichiro's in this game, 218. And also Derek Jeter was third. Mr. Consistency across the board. You see leading American League in hitting. His average has been fantastic. And taking the fifth. You know, everybody has waited for Cano to be the guy, the protection for Alex Rodriguez and Teixeira, and he was batting in the lower part of the lineup. They just knew that he was this type of player. He's embraced it, and certainly so far he's been very good for this Yankee offense and across the board in Major League Baseball.
Now Cano, in his last 11 games, has come down to earth just a little bit, and you expect that because, you know, people don't hit 380. It's very rare. He's 10 for his last 42, which is 238, but his average still 353, which is best in the major leagues. Hit the ball well to left field yesterday, and you can see he had the great April, very good May, and a very good June. The 1-2. That one's kicked away by Bard, but he finds it.
Well, I think there's certain things where you look at Robinson Cano, and early in his career, like any young hitter, they're impatient, don't like to walk, will shoot out of the at-bat by swinging at the first couple pitches. Just watching his comfort level is there, as it should be. The year that he's having, MVP-type year. Takes a lot of the tough pitches that a pitcher will make off the plate. I'd look at that home run that he hit on Sunday night against George Sherrill, going the other way. You know, pitches like that where, you know, you eventually see a hitter where they're very comfortable and know their zone. Kevin Long, a very good hitting coach, been able to work with not only Cano, but all these guys extensively.
Smith steps off. Yankees up 1-0. Infield single by Jeter, a double by Swisher, a ground out by Teixeira. The 3-2. And that is looped into shallow center. It's going to be a tough play and a great play by Wilson to take a base hit and an RBI away from Robinson Cano. Josh Wilson ranging far into short center and an over-the-shoulder play as we end the first with the Yankees up 1-0.
Change the way you feel about moving with one call to DirecTV. Then experience our award-winning customer satisfaction, including free professional installation at your new home, a free DVR or HD receiver upgrade. Plus, ask about getting 21 of the best movie channels free for 3 months. It all adds up to over $200 in additional savings. The 5-Star Movers Connection. Compliments of DirecTV.
Sleepy's July 4th holiday mattress sale is going on now. Get a Sealy Posturepedic Serta Perfect Sleeper or Simmons Beauty Rest mattress and box spring starting at $3.99. Plus, get a free comforter, free Serta sheet, free Snap camcorder, or iPod clock radio absolutely free with select models.
Trust Sleepy's for the rest of your life.
Waves are really powerful. They're clean, renewable, and really fun. There are companies proving that wave power can be safely harnessed to make electricity. The first tidal turbines in New York successfully provided electricity to local businesses on Roosevelt Island. Can one solution to energy woes be found right off the beach? The possibilities are endless.
Big crowd filing into Yankee Stadium on a beautiful Thursday matinee. Yankees lead 1-0 after one. Let's take a look at this play on the Coors Light freeze cam. Over the shoulder, waiting, waiting, waiting. Freeze it. And a first down, too. He stayed in bounds, Al.
That was fantastic. Watch it from here. It had enough hang time. It thought maybe it would just been in between the center fielder and Wilson. He went all out. What a great play. There was on a dead sprint. Nice play.
I think the shortstop that's best at that play is Jeter. The over-the-shoulder play. He ranges far into the outfield, but that was just extraordinary how much ground he covered, and there wasn't much hang time in the pop-up. Here's Milton Bradley. That one is lined into left center field. It's going to be trouble. Giving chase is Granderson. He can't get there, and it bounces into the Mariner bullpen. So Bradley, who actually went out on Monday night with CC Sabathia and Cliff Lee, and Lee and, well, should I say Sabathia picked up the tab. Bradley pays him back with a double.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bradley has been struggling like many of these Mariner hitters, but he's had a nice series here. He had a home run off Vasquez at his first at bat yesterday, pulling his hands in on a little, looked like CC took a little off on a slider, more of a breaking ball speed. Splitting the uprights, getting a ground rule double.
Here's Lopez. Lopez carries a 13-game hitting streak into this one. 17 for 52 during the streak. And getting the average up to respectability, 244 now. Grounded to first. Nice piece of hitting. He moves the runner over to third. Teixeira touches up for the first out. IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball on Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned about Milton Bradley going to dinner with CC. I always thought, of course, you have friends across the game, and now with free agency, most guys played with somebody or knows them. I always thought it was an advantage to the hitter to have that relationship, knowing that they're buddies, and you're a little less fearful of a ball coming in on you. A little more confidence, aggressive hitting.
Yankees bring the infield in for Josh Wilson. And the pitch is high. Would you pitch differently to a guy that you really like, that you were friends with?
You know, I remember Jay Buhner. I came up with the Yankees, and Buhner and I were basically every step of the way. And every time I faced him, yeah, there was a little, you know, I knew him very well. He knew me, and, you know, there's a friendship. Yes, slightly. And I wouldn't think.
That goes off the glove of Posada, but Bradley stays put.
You know, if you were coming in on a guy that you knew, you were a little bit more conscious of hoping, you know, when you did come in, you weren't going to hit him.
So simply put, if you were facing me, I'd get drilled.
Twice.
Twice.
Not true. We like each other.
Your friends don't think so, though. Buhner was 4 for 12 against him. Maybe he should have been a little tougher with him.
No damage. Is there damage in
No
that?
damage. Swing and a miss. Chased a fastball a little up and away, 2-1.
That's where, as a pitcher, CC knows the infield's in. On average, Major League Baseball batting averages go up about 100 points. Get an opportunity to get 2 strikes. You want to get the strikeout.
Fouled away.
So now there's no doubt about it. You know, any kind of hard grounder, obviously, if it's not directly to the infield, you have a base hit. See what CC decides to do with a put-away pitch here. Just cutting, obviously, with the infield in, cutting down on the angle for the infielders.
The 2-2. Right off the end of the bat.
So for me, that's kind of a take that pitch back kind of scenario. You got to change up in the zone. Obviously, CC didn't want it there. It's really not a put away swing and a miss pitch up there. Easy for a guy to keep his hands back, get a fly ball out of that. Usually some breaking ball, power breaking ball down in the dirt here.
The 2-2. Popped up and out of play. Sabathia had a great June, 5-0 with a 2.19 ERA. Popped up. That will not get a run in. Cano right there will make the play for the second out. Now the Yankees will have the infield back up. Let's take a look at the Toyota text poll for the day. Today's question is, aside from the Yankees, which team has the best 1-2 punch of starting pitchers in baseball? You can text your vote to 58772. Standard text messaging rates applies at the Cardinals with Wainwright and Carpenter, Giants with Lincecum and Kane, Mariners with Lee and Hernandez, or the Phillies with Halladay and Hamels. I think I might have to go Lincecum Kane.
I don't know. The last two games, that's tough to. Well, this is a little tougher question than last night's. Although we thought it was going to be unanimous. Ken Griffey being a first ballot Hall of Famer.
And there's a strike to Langerhans. Now, Langerhans is a late addition into the lineup. Franklin Gutierrez was in the original lineup. Now, he left yesterday's game in the second inning with an upset stomach and then was scratched again before the game with an upset stomach.
I think that might have been wishful thinking for Don Wakamatsu, the manager. Gutierrez's lifetime against CC is 444, 4 for 9 with a home run. Sometimes managers will write that lineup out before the guys even get there.
Well, he's probably thinking an upset stomach is not going to keep him on the bench if he knows he does well against this guy. That must be some upset stomach. They're saying yesterday was the upset stomach. Today is flu-like symptoms.
See, that could knock a guy out for a few days.
Now, this is a stat that's unusual because CC's such a good pitcher. Opponents are 14 for 44. That's 318 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. The 3-1. 3-2. Good fastball. 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, so far, CC hitting that 94, 95 mark. Just here it is. Hit it to Langerhans behind it. By you.
And the 3-2. Strike 3. Langerhans down looking. Punched out by home plate umpire Paul Schreiber. So the leadoff double wasted. Mariners leave 1. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Yankees.
The 2009 New York Yankees are world champions.
Come out to Yankee Stadium in 2010 to see the 27-time world champion New York Yankees in action. And on Saturday, July 17th, celebrate the glorious history of the Yankees with Old Timers Day. Come see your favorite Yankee legends put on the pinstripes again and take the field at Yankee Stadium as we celebrate the 60th anniversary of the 1950 World Championship team. Ceremonies begin at 2 o'clock, so arrive early for Old Timers Day.
I'm feeling really good about winning Take 5 today.
You should. All you need is me. Little bit of luck. If she has a little bit of luck, what about me?
No, that's my little bit of luck, right, baby?
Baby.
Ladies! There's enough of me to go around for everyone.
Oh, really? Well, how's that?
Well, the odds of winning Take 5 are 1 in 9. There's 100,000 winners every day.
I'm gonna take you home.
Oh, wow.
Play Take 5 from the New York Lottery. With 1 in 9 odds, all you need is a little bit of luck.
Performance. Is it speed, power, or is it something more comprehensive? The Lexus GS350 outperforms the European competition in not only horsepower, but also in powertrain warranty and 0 to 60 time. So if you're considering a performance car, you may instead want to consider an outperformance car. Now for a limited time, lease the 2010 GS350 all-wheel drive for $499 a month for 36 months with $41.98 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
Let's look now at the upcoming schedule brought to you by Acela Express. Enjoy the journey. 3 day games coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on the July 4th weekend, all against the Toronto Blue Jays. All of those games on Yes. And then the Yankees head to the West Coast. 3 games in Oakland, all at night. And 4 games in Seattle, 3 at night, and 1 at 4:10 on Sunday. And that will be the last game before the All-Star break. One nothing. The Yankees lead. A run in the first inning on a ground ball by Teixeira with a runner at third, that being Jeter, scoring. And that's where we stand right now. Here is Posada. Jorge 3 for his last 16. Fouls that one off in front of the plate. Mariners looking for a sweep of the Yankees. Mariners playing better baseball, but still 11 games under 500. They got off to a dreadful start, and they're just trying to dig out of a hole. Slow roller to short. Wilson to Branyan, and there's one away.
But it really shows you, Michael, what kind of starting pitcher could really make a team look like a championship team. What Cliff Lee and Felix Hernandez did last night, and obviously they were getting some offense here. I mean, their offensive numbers across the board is pretty much last or second to last in the American League. But that's where I think there's a glimmer of hope with the what-if scenario of everyone has automatically Cliff Lee being traded. I don't know. You know, I talked to Jack Zarensic, the general manager for the Mariners, posed the question, said, you know, if you go 20-8 for the month, and you guys make up 6-7 games, you know, are you in it? Are you a buyer? Are you selling? And you know, he's all about, you know, winning today, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
What's interesting about that, Al, is the sooner you trade him, I think the better deal you get, because you're giving the team that gets Lee more starts by him. And if you're going to wait till the end of July to see if you're still in it, I think that the haul that you're going to receive is going to be a little bit less. So they've got to, you know, they've got to weigh that. And maybe they could look at it this way: we get back Bedard, we get rid of Lee. Well, we still have 2 #1 type starters, but I don't know how close they are to getting Bedard back.
And I think the hole that they dug, there's plenty of people that thought that they would compete with the Angels right at the top. The Rangers are now in first place. I don't know how many people think that the A's are going to hold up.
Line down the right field line and foul.
But I think that really that they were an exciting story in baseball to have lost over 101 games 2 years ago, went over 500 last year. Don Wakamatsu did a nice job, you know, helping turn around this team. You got an aggressive general manager that's not afraid to make a move. And they did. They went out. Their mindset was pitching and defense, obviously with the trade of Cliff Lee, bringing in Sean Figgins, an on-base percentage guy.
Grounded to Figgins. And Granderson's out.
Ryan Roland Smith, we're talking about Eric Bedard, who guys had several nice years with the Orioles, really when healthy, kind of a front-end guy, ace-type pitcher. They've had some good starting pitching from the Seattle Mariners. Doug Fister, the 3-starter. Jason Vargas really has found himself in Seattle. Gardner back in there, wrist healthy, deemed healthy.
Foul back here. Just missed outside.
Good take from Brett Gardner. You think of a guy who was viewed as a platoon player here, coming back after a little injury, facing a left-hander. How he's come up the ranks, certainly deserving of it. Heck of a year so far, 321 batting average. Gritty, tough type, old school ball player. Certainly Joe Girardi loves that type. Kevin Long's worked with him.
Hit 383 in June now. And starting off July with a fly ball to left. A beautiful play by Langerhans as he went sprawling forward to make the catch. So Gardner, that's his traditional trademark blooper into left, but a nice play by the left fielder taking away a base hit.
An AL East battle rages in the Bronx when the Yankees start a 3-game set with the Blue Jays. Tomorrow, the Bombers look to flex their first-place muscles and take down Toronto as they try to power their way to a series-opening win at the stadium. Blue Jays, Yankees. Complete coverage starts tomorrow at noon with batting practice today.
Only on Yes.
The Rockies run down the length of America like a backbone. And for almost 140 years now, that's where we've brewed our Coors Banquet beer, using only Rocky Mountain water and the best high country barley. That's something we refuse to change. And that's what having a backbone is all about. Coors, the banquet beer.
Our front door, our backyard, our pastime, our heart and soul. Blimpie has been a part of America's tradition for over 40 years. Our subs are made with fresh baked breads, quality meats and cheeses sliced to order, with tasty toppings and delicious dressings you love so much. Taste the difference freshness makes. Yesterday's traditions are still today's. Blimpie, America's sub shop.
My Toyota has 180,000 miles on it.
190,000 miles.
267,491 miles on it.
My Toyota has 464,000 miles.
While a Toyota may last a long time, the amazing deals and great selection won't during Toyota's National Clearance Event.
And now get 0% APR financing for 60 months or a $149 a month lease on a new 2010 Corolla. Or lease a 2010 Toyota Prius for just $179 a month.
Toyota, durability to move you forward.
Before the game, the 77th Sustainment Brigade, based out of Fort Dix, New Jersey, presented the colors during the national anthem. They are here at the game as the Yankees donated 400 tickets to them. So welcome to the 77th Sustainment Brigade, based out of Fort Dix. So they're all enjoying the game, and we welcome them to the ballpark.
Down there in my neck of the woods, Michael.
Here's the 0-1 to Josh Bard. Grounded to second. Hot shot. Cano stays with it. One out. Well, here in the third inning, it's time for us to talk to our very own Kimberly Jones. And Kimberly, I know that you have been closely following the A.J. Burnett situation. He had a terrible June, and he has been reunited with Dave Island, who missed 25 days for personal issues. What is this combo working on right now?
Well, AJ threw his first bullpen in front of Island in a month yesterday, Michael. And I said, well, how did it start? AJ said, Dave said, we're starting over. We're going back to what we did in April. Let's go. I said, well, what did you change? He said, well, I am back to standing on the middle third of the pitching rubber. I said, well, where had you been? He said, I've been all over the mound trying to find something lately. I said, what else did you work on? He said, you know, I don't want to really say I worked on things. I just did it. That is how easy easy the communication is between him and Island. He said that Dave has a way of getting his message across in very few words, both in the bullpen and when AJ's on the mound. For example, he will say, "Find your window." That's it. Or he will say, "Stay back for 1 extra second while delivering a pitch," and that's all the message AJ says he needs to hear.
Now, do they have a special connection? Because Mike Harkey obviously knows pitching, and he was the pitching coach filling in for Island. Do Island and Burnett have a different type of communication?
I think they do, Michael. However, AJ very sensitive and not wanting any of this to come across as a slight to Mike Harkey or to Joe Girardi. He said, "They did all they could do with me over the last month. I just wasn't doing my job." He says, "The last thing I need to be thinking about when I'm getting hit is my mechanics." He said, "Overthinking is not a good thing for me." And Island jokes with him and says, "AJ, I know why you're a simple thinker. You're from Arkansas." And AJ laughs.
Now, AJ actually went home when his grandpa passed away, and he actually got some advice and some words of wisdom from his father. Sometimes it takes somebody who's been with you your whole life to really get to you.
It does, Michael, and it was his paternal grandfather who passed away. AJ left the team Sunday from LA, didn't return until just before that bullpen yesterday, and it was over those couple of days that AJ's dad pulled him aside and said, "On the mound right now, son, you look like a deer in the headlights." AJ said he was shocked by that account from his own father. He said, "With my stuff and my positive thinking, that's the last way I would ever want to appear." I said, "What are you talking about, positive thinking? You usually look like you're beating yourself up." He said, "I do." He said, "I swear to you, I'm thinking positive thoughts." And Al, I told AJ, I said, "The more we talk, and we talk often, I am convinced everything about your outings is from the neck up. It is all confidence with AJ." And Al, he looked at me and said, "You're absolutely right."
Oh, I absolutely, Kimberly. But, you know, as honest as AJ could be, and you know better than anybody, I think it's refreshing that he admitted that little story tidbit to you, because it is from the neck up. He possesses great stuff, as everybody watches, and the keys that you're talking about can be said a little bit differently, and certainly Dave Island is a relationship that he has, that it clicks. Yes, I know. You mentioned window or 1 second back. You know, these are simple things. And Michael, you even say it. You know, here's a guy, you know, Harkey certainly knows pitching, but it's just the connection. Ah, yeah, that's right. You know, and it works. And then you have success with it and you become confident again.
Here's Ichiro as he digs in with 2 outs against Sabathia. Now, he flew out to center field in the first inning against the left-hander. And Kim, these two don't have a great history, at least in terms of CC's side.
That's right. Ichiro, among left-handed hitters, has had the most power against CC. Him and Jim Thome both have 3 career home runs from the left side against CC. When you ask CC about it, he almost smiles and shakes his head, Michael. He said, "I don't know what it is with this guy." He hits him pretty well. 396 career hitter as well coming into the game against Sabathia.
Good stuff, Kim. We will hear from you again on the postgame show. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, that's Kimberly Jones. You hear her every day before and after the game and during the game as well, the 1-0. There's a strike. One quick thing about AJ, Allen, and you know AJ, and you can attest to it as well. I think people look at AJ, the sleeve full of tattoos. Yeah. They think he's a tough guy. They think
Marilyn
he's like
Manson
mean.
music.
Yeah, he's really a sweetheart, and he's introspective and probably thinks too much. Very soft-spoken. Really has a great relationship with Kim, and actually pours his heart out to her. And I think people look at him and they misjudge a book by its cover. They really do.
I agree.
We'll talk more about that as we move along. And AJ's going to get the start tomorrow against his former team, the Blue Jays. 1-2-3 inning for Sabathia. We go to the bottom of the 3rd.
Hundreds of ideas and innovations come together to create an entirely new luxury sports sedan. Introducing our best BMW 5 Series yet. Test drive 11 new BMW models at the BMW Ultimate Driving Event on now.
The 2009 New York Yankees are world champions.
Come out to Yankee Stadium in 2010 to see the 27-time world champion New York Yankees in action. Don't miss a Yankee Stadium tradition on Tuesday, July 20th. When the Yankees play the Angels, it's Cap Night, with the first 18,000 fans 21 and older receiving a Yankees cap, courtesy of Budweiser. In 2010, come home to Yankee Stadium, the home of champions.
It was beautiful. So look, see the sights that you like.
AT&T covers 97% of all Americans. This summer, get the exclusive Samsung Strive for just $19.99, only from AT&T.
Tomorrow, the Yankees kick off a holiday weekend series when they take on Toronto. Coverage starts at noon with batting practice today, presented by Audi and the Tri-State Ford pregame. Then Ken Singleton and I will bring you the call from the Bronx. Blue Jays and the Yankees tomorrow starting at noon. It's only on Yes. While we go to the bottom of the third inning here at the stadium, Yankees are up 1-0, and Ramiro Pena will lead off against Ryan Roland Smith. Ramiro's been in a little bit of a slump. You see 185 overall, 2 hits and 21 at-bats. Just to finish the point on A.J., Al, because you do know him. You knew him with Toronto last year. You talked with him a lot. This guy is so different than the way he looks, and I think that people expect him to be mean on the mound and, you know, focused in. I think A.J. is a kind of a deep thinker, a really sweet, nice guy. I think sometimes that gets him.
You know what? And you know, you mentioned about the tattoos and, you know, his selection of music, and you're exactly right. And he is a thinker, and he likes the game. I remember spending some time with the Marlins in 05 when he was my teammate, and you know, he thinks at a different level. He really does, and really likes baseball. And you say, well, of course. So what do you mean likes baseball? You know, there's a lot of guys that don't know the history. They don't really get into, you know, the previous generation.
There's a ground ball of Figgins, and Pena is out for the first time.
And that potentially could get in his way. And he mentioned to Kim about, you know, it's from the neck up, and admitting to that. I completely agree with that, because, you know, it is from the neck up. And I forget what the percentage Yogi Berra said, but, you know, this game is mostly mental. And how do you explain some of the rhyme and reason, or not lack of rhyme or reason, when guys are struggling or they're in that zone where they say, you know, I'm not thinking, you know, the ball's just coming out of my hand, or a hitter say it looks like a beach ball. And then other times you look at him and say, man, he doesn't even look like a major leaguer. I think it's very refreshing, and I think A.J., you know, everybody's got to certainly supporting him around the Yankees.
The one thing I don't understand, though, Al, is because he is a bright guy. He's 33 years old. I mean, you would think that by now he would have defeated these demons. He's had success. He won a big game last year for the Yankees. Game 2 in the World Series was gigantic. They were down 1-0, and he won that game against the Phillies. I thought that would forever get him over the hump of worrying about things. Don't you think by 33 he should have it figured out?
No, because you don't figure it out, Michael. You work right to the very end. And I think a couple things that have been a blessing and also a curse. When you have an arm like A.J. Burnett, 95 to 100 miles an hour, and still possesses a plus fastball, and really got away with it from fastball, curveball, his entire career, and devastating, you know, curveball that drops off the table. When either A, your velocity's down or you lack command on your fastball, or your curveball isn't for a strike, there's really not many places to go. That's why watching CC today, you know, I think what I marvel about CC is that he's not just the guy that throws 95 or better from the left side. He's got a changeup, he two-seams it, he's got a little cutter, he changes speeds. AJ hasn't done that consistently in his career because he hasn't had to do it. I talked to Jimmy Key. I remember Jimmy, and I said, boy, you know, it's impeccable command, and, you know, great changeup, great location. I said, how long have you know, when did you learn this? Because, Al, I had to do this in high school because Jimmy Key didn't have that 95 plus.
So sometimes the great electric talent is a curse.
I think so, unless you're able to identify and say, okay, who am I? What type of stuff do I have today? I don't know if AJ's able to command days in which he doesn't have that great stuff. To where do I go? That's why that changeup is so valuable.
So, but again, that brings it to the age again. At 33, don't you think he should have figured out a third pitch?
You got to believe it. You have to trust it, and I don't believe he trusts it. He doesn't trust the days when his fastball's off, command off, his curveball's not for called strikes. Should I throw that little 87-mile-an-hour changeup? Yes, you need it.
Well, the Yankees need him. They really do, and for them to have continued to be in first place in the East when he gave them nothing in the month of June. Absolutely nothing. Now, I do believe the loss of Island meant something to him, and that's not a knock on Harkey. He and Island had something going. They know what buttons to have to push and things like that, and Island not being there, I think, took something away. Now we'll see. Tomorrow's his first start since Island got back here on Tuesday, so they've had some time to work. Obviously sitting together, talking through things. We'll see how it translates on the mound tomorrow afternoon.
There's comfort in that, Michael. There is. And you know, obviously you want your pitcher, you want your player to be on the field comfortable and not having anything in his mind.
3-2 is popped up. Wilson fighting the glare. Boy, that was really up there, and he puts away for the final out of the third. 9 in a row for Ryan Rowland-Smith. We played 3. It's 1-0 Yanks.
Tobacco companies are now using colored packaging because deceptive labels like light and low tar have been banned. Don't be fooled. All cigarettes contain the same poisons that make you sick and kill you. Quit smoking today. For help, call 311.
DirecTV helps parents make smart TV choices.
I use parental controls to block the bad guys and lock out all those scaly monsters for my daughter, all by pressing the menu button.
Now that's getting the most out of your service. DirecTV. TV with benefits. DirecTV helps you make family-friendly viewing choices.
I use common sense media ratings, so I don't ever have to hear, Mommy, what does mean again? I just go to DirecTV.com.
Now that's getting the most out of your service. DirecTV. TV with benefits.
You wouldn't send a kid with a garden hose to put out a 5-alarm fire. So when you get hit by bed bugs, stop kidding around. Call Bell Environmental, the experts you can trust. Roscoe, our bed bug sniffing dog, will find the problem, and our instant freeze will fix it. Bell Environmental treats your home or office without harmful chemicals or damage to your belongings. Safe and thorough. That's Bell Environmental, the professionals you can trust.
For more than a quarter of a century, our attorneys have been representing asbestos victims throughout New York and New Jersey.
The knowledge and dedication of our team has enabled us to win some of the largest verdicts in the country.
We care about the families we represent and personally handle each case.
And we don't stop until our clients get the justice they deserve.
Call 1-800-MESO-LAW for your free mesothelioma guide with 2 DVDs and over 100 pages of legal and medical information.
It's time for the New York State Smokers Quit Line Quiz. Now, Cano currently leads the American League in hits. So the question is, who was the last Yankee to lead the American League in hits for a season? We'll find that out in the bottom of the inning. Sean Figgins leads off against CC Sabathia. Figgins shows bunt, pulls back, takes a ball, 1-0.
Figgins with a pretty good history against Sabathia, 313 lifetime with 1 home run coming into today's game.
There's a strike.
You know, we were talking about it the last 2 days with the impressive performance of Cliff Lee and Felix Hernandez last night, where pitchers with good stuff that are unpredictable, meaning that they'll throw any pitch at any count. We'll kind of dovetail off of AJ Burnett conversation, you know, watching CC when he's on, and even when he's not, Michael, you know, the big curveball changes speeds. We just saw 78-mile-an-hour curveball get in the count. First pitch breaking ball, changes speeds on his slider. He throws and uses a changeup, not as an emergency pitch, but part of his arsenal. It's hard for guys to square up. Little change up there, left it up in the zone, but pulled off 10 miles an hour, even though that was middle up in the zone. So it's that unpredictable nature of a guy who has good stuff, very good stuff. And those are the elements where if you see it consistently all year long or all career long, those are your great pitchers. Those are your perennial all-stars and contending Cy Young Award winners. Not easy. There's an awful lot of people who try to do this and pitch. Bantering back and forth about pitching. What a career Andy Pettit's had.
You know, we interviewed Andy Pettit yesterday, Al. There's a ground ball to second for center stage that you'll see sometime in July. And he had a point that I'm sure that you would really agree with. In '99, got off to a terrible start, and the Yankees almost traded him to the Philadelphia Phillies for 4 prospects. And I said, well, why'd you get, because he finished the season at the trade deadline 6-1. I said, why'd you get off to such a bad start? He goes, you know what? This isn't easy. He goes, it's really hard out there. He goes, and for the first half of the season, I just stunk. There was no reasons and no excuses. He said, there's a lot of things that have to go right for you to do well on the mound. He said, there are some guys that make it look easy, but for most guys, it's a hard thing to do. And I think that all of us should look at it that way. That's not easy to be on the mound and throw that ball and get people out.
All you have to do, Michael, is go to every Little League field in this country and now world and see how many kids are playing baseball. Little League Baseball of America, there's 5 million kids that are playing Little League right now, and just take that little cone and keep making it smaller and smaller as you get to the higher levels in college, or if you're lucky enough to get drafted in high school, and then you get in pro ball, and then that little siphon goes down even more. Absolutely, and certainly never want to profess it, because I was about as inconsistent as anybody who pitched. Had some moments, but it is not easy. They are not robots. Hitters will miss a 2-0 fastball middle of the plate. And it's part of the game. And that's what I think is interesting, and what I found I was able to do in the latter part of my career was to really allow things to be dismissed. And the more you can just forget about it and move on, you know, clear the head again, you know, not for it to be in your mind, because it is such a mental game. Any game where you could fail 7 out of 10 times and be really successful, or viewed as really successful, should tell you about the sport.
Russell Branyan down looking.
And then, you know, then also too the aspect of here, this is a nice breaking ball, pulls off a little bit of velocity, and that's what I mean about CC. He'll throw a power breaking ball anywhere 83 to 85, and then we've already seen curveballs today in that low 70, mid 77, 78 range. So what does he have? 95, change speed, good changeup, and then not only just you see a breaking ball as a hitter, but he'll change speeds on, and it's not by accident, it's by design.
Milton Bradley again scalds one to right field this time, picks up a hit. So the only 2 hits against Sabathia by Milton Bradley, a double in the second, then that single with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Well, he's got a couple hits off of him. Didn't you say that he went to dinner with him? And
yeah, on Monday.
CC paid for it?
He's paying for it now.
Nice approach hitting right there. Alonzo Powell, the new hitting coach for the Mariners, is talking about Milton Bradley struggling all year, but really has been concentrating on Milton to go the other way, gap to gap, left center, right center field.
And so far, the Yankees have not been able to get him out consistently. 5 for 10 in this series. He also had that home run yesterday. One and 0 to Lopez. The 1-0. There's that changeup.
Very nice. Pulls the trigger on it. Takes it. You know, you try to get about 12-mile-an-hour separation between your fastball. Just looks just like a fastball. That's the importance of it, to maintain good arm speed for the pitcher.
Grounded fair, backhanded by Pena, the long throw, and a good stretch by Teixeira, and that'll do it here in the 4th. Pena sporting a good arm. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 man left. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's 1-0 Yanks.
Hundreds of ideas and innovations come together to create an entirely new luxury sports sedan. Introducing our best BMW 5 Series yet. Test drive 11 new BMW models at the BMW Ultimate Driving event on now.
Select Izod IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Dan Weldon. Select race transport. Mission finish first. The fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
The Rockies run down the length of America like a backbone. And for almost 140 years now, that's where we've brewed our Coors Banquet beer, using only Rocky Mountain water and the best high country barley. That's something we refuse to change. And that's what having a backbone is all about. Coors, the banquet beer.
As we go to the bottom of the fourth inning, we find out the answer to the New York State Smokers Quit Line quiz. That's the question, and we'll get the answer after this pitch. It's a strike to Mark Teixeira. So what Yankee has, and Alfonso Soriano is the answer. Ichiro had 208 in 2002. Soriano had 209. Boy, Soriano's career is really taking a downhill turn. Last couple of years with the Cubs, just hasn't been near the player that he was with the Yankees and the Texas Rangers as well. Remember, the Yankees traded Soriano to the Rangers for Alex Rodriguez.
Boy, didn't you think when he came up, just smoke a fastball, even low ball hitter with the curveball? I thought he was going to be something. You're right. It really has not panned out in Chicago.
And you know what's amazing, too? He would have. If things had gone the way they always usually go, he would have had one of the biggest home runs in Yankee postseason history. There's a ground ball base hit through the left side, and that'll extend Teixeira's hitting streak to 12 straight. He hit that home run off Curt Schilling in Game 7 of the 2001 series to give the Yankees 2-1 lead, and they were ready to win the World Series again if Mariano closed it out in the ninth, and he didn't do it, and that home run is essentially forgotten.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it would have been one of the biggest home runs ever.
The Bernie Carbo home run.
Last year with the Cubs, Soriano 241 with 20 home runs. Wow. This year, 279 with 13 home runs, which isn't awful. And here's a guy he was traded for, Alex Rodriguez. Grounded to third. This could be two. There's one. And there's two.
Hot smash. Jose Lopez quickly coming up. Strong, accurate throw over to Figgins. Figgins having enough time getting out of the way. Teixeira aggressively sliding into second base as he should. Hit it right on the screws, just right at Lopez.
So Smith, who comes into the game with a 6.18 ERA, has really shut down the Yankees. As Cano hits one deep to right center field, giving chase Ichiro on the track, at the wall, see ya! Home run into the Yankee bullpen. A solo shot, and the Yankees lead 2-0.
Well, up until that point right there, a little hanging slider from Smith. Watch this ball up in the zone. Cano's 10th home run off of lefties this year, is 16th of the year. What a season for Robinson Cano right here. Stays back. Boom. Gets that ball up in the sky here. Strong.
Pitch to Posada is outside.
And balance. I think he's got such a smooth, rhythmic swing. And never gets off the fastball, times it, allows that breaking ball up in the zone, waffles it.
Rip foul. Well, Cadone's about a month ahead of schedule. He didn't hit his 16th home run last year until July 29th. Here we are, the 1st of July. He has 16. Al, are you experiencing the same thing as I am right now? There's this intoxicating smell of grilled onions wafting up to the booth. I don't know where it's coming from, and it's going to be trouble if it remains that way as Posada works a walk.
So you don't like onions?
I love them. I love onions.
Why is that a problem?
Because who wants to smell something that you can't have?
It's good for the senses.
Okay.
Yeah, I do smell it.
It smells good, right?
Mm-hmm. Where's Paul? You have a load of onion rings right now.
So Posada with the 2-out walk, and here is Granderson.
A trip from Josh Bard, watching him, his pitcher maybe start nibbling a little bit, being a little careful. Anytime a pitcher starts thinking being careful, usually make a mistake. Good at bat from Posada, fighting off a couple pitches, drawing the walk, making the pitcher work. That's what the Yankee lineup does well.
Popped up, shallow left center. A long run by Langerhans, and he makes the play for the final out of the 4th. But the Yankees get another run, and they do it on the bat of Robinson Cano. So many big hits so far this year. That one deposited into the Yankee bullpen for a 2-0 Yankee lead.
This summer, go to your local retailer and pick up specially marked packages of Corona and Corona Light. If you find a custom-wrapped Corona bottle inside, you could win a Corona beach getaway of your own.
We're part of nature, and as we destroy nature, we destroy ourselves. It's a selfish thing to want to protect nature. I never intended to be a businessman. We made the world's best climbing equipment out of here. We realized that putting in and taking out of all these pitons was causing damage to the rock. So I made these little soft aluminum chocks that you just put in with your fingers. And I'm a dam buster.
We've been working for years to take this dam out. The reservoir behind it is only 4 feet deep. The water gets real warm, kills a lot of the life in the river.
When you take out a dam, that's a real victory. I mean, a concrete victory, so to speak. I get an idea to do something, I like to take the first step. If that feels good, I take another step. To do good, you actually have to do something.
No matter what you want to do, Members Project from American Express can help you take the first step. Vote, volunteer, or donate at membersproject.com.
Hi, everyone. Bob Lorenz with your Audi update. Let's check the Blue Jays and Indians in Cleveland. And Sean Markham of the Jays had a gem going. Hadn't given up a hit, in fact, until Matt Laporta, 4th inning. Big 3-run shot makes it 3-0 Indians. Meantime, Justin Masterson for Cleveland is still pitching a gem. 8 innings, 5 hits allowed. He struck out 5. 6-0 now, bottom of the 8th.
Thank you, Bob. We'll hear from Bob a little bit later on. Then in the postgame with Jack Curry and Kimberly Jones, we go to the 5th inning. It's 2-0 Yankees. You know, I'm thinking about Bob, right? Yeah. He's only got one game to monitor being played, and this one. You know that he and Curry sitting there playing Parcheesi. They probably have the board out, you know, the dice, the whole thing. That's what they're doing.
I think they play chess.
I don't think so.
How about that, Matt Laporta? Russell Branyan gets traded recently to the Mariners, opens up the spot for the young, talented player.
And if you really want to tie it together, they got Matt Laporta for
right.
CC Sabathia. That was the main cog that they got back from the Brewers, and he's never really panned out yet. Maybe he's going to reach his potential now. That's a fly ball to left field. And Josh Wilson is retired on a fly ball to Gardner. Here's Ryan Langerhans. Struck out looking in the second inning. Goes to strike.
Boy, Ryan Langerhans, I remember top draft pick out of Texas with the Atlanta Braves, ended up going to the Nationals, was traded in 09 for Mike Morse, who also was a top pick for the Mariners. Good looking young left-handed hitter. So over the years just quite hasn't panned out. Last year with the Nationals, .234 batting average. Actually at 08.
Two 2-0 Yankees. As Sabathia deals the 2-1. How about this stat? Sabathia's had a really good career, and he has never, except for one other time, won double figures before the All-Star break. And the only other time he did that was in 2007 when he was 12-3. Now he's got a couple more starts before the All-Star break, but this could be his 10th win if he completes it. So trying to do something that he's only done once before.
Well, you know, and so many innings as well. He's a workhorse, and I think a guy that slowly gets into the season playing in Cleveland. Certainly April is a cold part of this country, and a guy who really comes down the stretch. And you know, your money pitchers to me are obviously your August, September pitchers.
Just past the diving Cano into right field, a base hit. Well, Al, we've been waiting for it. A look at today's Toyota Text poll again. Again, the question was, aside from the Yankees, which team has the best 1-2 punch of starting pitchers in baseball? You've been voting at 58-772. Here's how you voted. 35% think it's Lee and Hernandez. 28% the Cardinals, 17% the Giants. That's last in the field. That I don't think that Halladay and Hamels is better than Lincecum and Kane.
I agree with what we saw, especially with Cliff Lee. And
runner goes. Just a huge jump, no throw, a stolen base for Langerhans.
And it's also, you have a lefty-righty front-end tandem as a 1A. Oh, big jump. Now, there's certain keys off of every pitcher first base coach will identify. He definitely had something on CC there.
Bard grounded to second. That was in the third. Pitch outside, 2-1.
Yeah, I think with CC along with AJ Burnett, CC's not a guy that's going to compromise his leg kick. Do certain things as a left-hander to be able to freeze a runner and make sure they don't get a running start. But this year, opponents have 10-11 of stolen bases off of CC.
And they also run wild against AJ Burnett.
Yeah.
Against AJ, 22 of 25 successful stolen bases. The 2-1. Fouled away. Now, were you, when you were on the mound, Al, were you willing to compromise your pitch in order to keep the runner close?
What I tried to do, Michael, and I know with the Mets, Bobby Valentine was my manager for most of the time. You know, there's different managers that will have your package of slide step, throw over, step off. You know, vary your times. You know, his biggest thing was just show me that you'll do it, and he won't call it from the bench. And I think it's important to really put in the hands of a pitcher to identify your green runners, guys that are going to steal, even the middle of the road runners. If you're not paying attention to them, like a Langerhans, or you know, knowing that there's a big leg kick, we're 1-4, 1-5, 1-6 in time, it's really hard for any catcher who's got a cannon to throw anybody out. So yes, you have to be mindful of it. And especially, you know, here in a tight ball game, you let it Ryan Langerhans to take off. Now any ground ball to the outfield, it's a potential run. See his leg kick go up, Now, there's different keys. You know, you look at the runner. A lot of people say, well, you're left-handed. You're looking at right at the runner. You know, there's leg kicks that aren't conducive to be able to throw over if you see a runner going. The foot can't pass behind the pitcher's rubber. And I think that was one big component of my delivery that I couldn't get, where a guy like Andy Pettitte does do well at it. Ryan Rowland-Smith has got a very good move.
Now, there are some pitching coaches that don't believe in it, right? They do not believe in slide steps.
There are pitching coaches that don't want you as a pitcher to feel uncomfortable in your delivery.
As Bard goes down swinging.
And what that means is if you have a big leg kick as a start, in a windup, and now your leg kick is what it is, and then all of a sudden every 3 or 4 pitches they're going to have you quicken it up. Nice changeup out in front there. See the grip, the changeup grip, beautiful, great arm speed. Ended up cutting a little bit, but the speed obviously got Bard out in front.
You ever have a catcher come up to you and say, "Hey, man, you're not even giving me a chance, Al"?
Catchers wouldn't do it, but you'll have your pitching coach come up, or even your manager say, you know, hey, give him a shot. You know, that's just another element of for, you know, there are some pitchers that are dominant. I guess they don't worry about it as much, but I was conscious of it, of trying to keep that runner at first as best you could. Certainly not run at will.
A lot of the old-time pitchers, I've heard stories where they would say, let him steal. If I get the guy out at the plate, it doesn't matter if they steal. Kind of simplifies things.
Yeah. Well, and also, too, it depends on how many outs and what the circumstance in the game, score, and everything else. It's a different style, too, Michael. It's a 3-run homer kind of scenario, especially in the American League. Talking to Rick Adair, the pitching coach for the Mariners, he has basically, he's able to get his pitchers to all be quick without rushing, but their leg kicks have good times. So it's a consistency with the amount of time that it takes for them to throw home plate.
Line right at Teixeira, and Saunders is out. No runs are hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. At the end of 4.5, we are halfway through. The Yankees are up by 2 right here on Yes.
We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation.
Remember when you were 5 and anything was possible? Happy 5th birthday again.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Performance. Is it speed, power, or is it something more comprehensive? The Lexus GS350 outperforms the European competition in not only horsepower, but also in powertrain warranty and 0 to 60 time. So if you're considering a performance car, you may instead want to consider an outperformance car. Now for a limited time, lease the 2010 GS350 all-wheel drive for $499 a month for 36 months with $41.98 due at signing. See your Lexus dealer.
Each year, smoking leaves 31,000 children fatherless.
Don't miss a moment. Quit smoking today. For help quitting, talk to your doctor or call 1-866-NY-QUITS.
Saturday, July 10th and Sunday, July 11th, the Yes Network presents the first ever broadcast of baseball in 3D. The Yankees take on the Mariners in Seattle, and Yes will bring you the event as you've never seen baseball before. Baseball's first live 3D broadcast powered by Panasonic and DirecTV. 3D coverage starts Saturday, July 10th at 10 from the Yes Network.
Yankees lead this one 2-0. Let's take a look at some of the leather exhibited by Seattle today.
Boy, and it's been very, very good. First inning, Josh Wilson on an all-out sprint. Then here in left field, Ryan Langerhans, great outstretched reach. And then a bullet to Jose Lopez getting a double play with Alex Rodriguez. Nice defense so far by the Seattle Mariners.
Brett Gardner leads off. Shows bunt, takes a strike. Roland Smith is defying all of the numbers coming into this game. His last 11 road starts, 0-7, 7.11. Let's see what Gardner does, hits by direction. He tried to take Roland Smith to left field last time, but the bottom line is, Al, he's playing against type. Because this is the type of pitcher you'd say, well, the Yankees going to beat him up. It hasn't been the case today.
Well, I think that's what any fan of baseball would have said. As you just said, the numbers didn't reflect him having a good year so far.
Nice play by Lopez.
But you got to still play the game. And Ryan Roland Smith has shown certainly at times this year that he's got the ability. I just think this is a starting pitcher that a Yankee lineup would, really find their spot to drive the ball and create more offense. But so far he's done a very nice job. 72 pitches, 5th inning.
Here's Pena. Pitch is high. There's Rick Adair, the pitching coach. And you see more and more pitching coaches now charting the game. And I'd say 10 years ago, you'd always see the next day starting pitcher chart. Did that do anything for you, Al, when you charted? No. Did you hate doing it?
Yeah. It was a way to keep a guy paying attention every pitch. And now I think it's become less because of the technology of video and guys really utilizing that. It wasn't not too long ago where guys didn't have that access to all the video footage and really enable them to have such a better understanding of hitters' strengths and weaknesses and scout reports and all that. So
once every 5 days, though, it must have been hell for you because you like to talk. I mean, you just have to shut it down and pay attention.
You still talk. It was hard charting from the dugout. Actually, if you charted, you were allowed to stay inside and chart from
oh, really?
the clubhouse. Yeah. You can't tell whether a pitch was a changeup or slider sometimes from the side. It had a little dip. Now with all the scoreboards, they're pretty accurate with the pitch type and velocity.
Strike 3, Pena down looking, and he thought he had worked a walk.
Just looking at Ryan Roland Smith and Rick Adair. Rick Adair was talking about how when you have a guy, we talked earlier, Michael, down in the zone, looked a little low. You had Josh Bart pulling the glove up. Watch Josh pull the glove up a little. That looked below the knee. I think they got a call there. Certainly had plate coverage. The only one that matters, Paul Schreiber, the home plate umpire, is to know thyself. Know the pitcher that you are and try not to be something you're not. And Ryan Roland Smith is a guy that does at times possess a good fastball, certainly a few years ago. And here, so far he looks very comfortable. He's using his pitches. And other than, I guess you'd call a mistake, a first pitch to Cano on the solo home run, he's really handled these Yankee hitters. Just a comfortable little 88 mile-an-hour fastball. So, okay, 88 doesn't sound too fast. It's right at about a little below Major League average, actually. And not that a pitcher like Ryan Roland Smith thinks about anything other than making pitches, but there is the chance of Eric Bedard coming off the DL, which will be a decision to be made. And Doug Fister has done a nice job along with Jason Vargas.
Isn't that nice?
Artist.
What is she sketching?
It's a profile.
Somebody's head.
Huh.
She was going to sketch my head, but she didn't have enough crayon. There's a ground ball to short. Wilson's there, and a 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Roland Smith. as the Yankees go down in order. We go to the sixth. Yankees lead this one 2-0 here on Yes.
Of legal and medical information.
We go to the sixth inning. Yankees are leading this one 2-0. 4 hits against Ryan Rowland-Smith, and the Mariners have had 3 hits off CC Sabathia. Top of the order, Ichiro Suzuki against the Yankee lefty. Grounded foul. Well, you look at CC Sabathia's record the last couple of years from June 15th on, and I believe he's 29-8. And I asked him yesterday, I said, well, why? He goes, I really don't know. I think he's going to petition Bud Selig to start the season on June 15th. But could it be that he's a big guy and he just rounds into shape over the first month and a half out? Could it be that simple?
I could only relate to how I felt during the year. And I was somebody who just felt like I needed to be ready right out of the chute, because I felt it was a good way to, pad your season, because you knew you were going to slump somewhere.
Oh, nice play by Pena. Took a base hit away from Ichiro.
Yeah, that right there is what is, for me, what's fun to watch Ichiro. He knows that Pena's in. This is by design. Just slap it on the ground, trying to get it over Pena's head. Pena respecting and honoring the fact that he could bunt to eliminate that. But this is what Ichiro's done his entire career. That ball goes over his head. That may have been a double. Good positioning. CC appreciates it. I just think it depends on the player, and I think CC is a guy, obviously the numbers show it, that he's a guy that as the season goes into it, he rolls into his sweet spot. And then it's look out. Once he gets locked in for whether it's a physical thing with his stuff, his arm, his shoulder, and body, certainly mentally tough enough to endure all of what's necessary to go right down the stretch. I thought what he did with the Brewers and all the innings and complete games, just a workhorse. I mean, there's guys that are aces that will front a staff, but then there are other players, pitchers like his CC, Roy Halladay, where you recognize your importance to a staff of having to go deep into games, to where your bullpen's not worn. They know, okay, CC's pitching today, great. This could be a complete game or 8 innings.
Lined right at Cano. Figgins retired.
You'll see ace-like numbers with some guys, but the innings don't reflect it. And yes, that's great to have a guy who wins 20 games or 18 games, a low ERA, but to go deeper in the game, it really says a lot about a guy understanding the role on a rotation 1 through 5.
Now, I always feel awkward, Al, as Russell Branyan digs in, saying, well, somebody's worth this amount of money. I mean, the amount of money that players make, it seems like monopoly money to most of us. We can't even comprehend. But that being said, CC Sabathia got paid a lot of money as a free agent, and if a ball player could be worth that kind of money, he's worth that kind of money. That is so important for a team to have. A guy who's going to eat up innings, win big games, step up, come up big in the big moments, and that's what they got in Sabathia. And that's why when he hit the free agent market, there was such a frenzy, and he was going to be able to command whatever he wanted, because you just don't get pitchers like that on the free agent market at the age of 28.
You're right. And when I look at the Yankees the last few years, when they had the drought of not going to the World Series or winning a World Series, they didn't really have the front end guy that's put away stuff, that's strikeout stuff. And they went out and got it. And AJ, not of the consistency of a CC Sabathia, but they got the 2 best power arms, not put in play. Because look, when you go down the stretch, and the Yankees are in it every year, you need front-end guys that not only can give you innings or keep a low ERA, but you need opportunities like CC's already had to either get a strikeout or keep that runner from score from third base.
High fly ball, shallow right. Swisher is there. Makes the play in a 10-pitch, 1-2-3 inning for Sabathia. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th. Yankees are up in this one, 2-0.
When you're strong-willed.
Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by Blimpie, America's Sub Shop, and by Acura. Acura, advance. A little overcast here at the stadium. Some of the clouds somewhat gray and dark. Hopefully no rain as we move forward. Bottom of the 6th inning, it's 2-0. Nick Swisher will lead off.
It's good. It cooled it off a little bit.
It is a little cool today.
Nice.
In stark contrast to the Yankees' visit to Phoenix, where it was about 109 every day. But it was a dry heat.
Right. I always get a kick out of that dry heat.
Well, like putting your head in an oven. That's a dry heat, too. Swisher, Teixeira, and A-Rod. And the left-hander deals. Strike. Swisher with a double in the first inning. Jeter had an infield single off the foot of Smith to start it off. Then a double to left center by Swisher. Second and third. Mariners bring the infield back. Teixeira hit a soft ground ball to short. That scored a run. That's the Yankees' first run. And then a two-out solo home run in the fourth inning by Robinson Cano into the Yankee bullpen in right center. And that is the scoring in this game. Sabathia has not been that pressured. He had a leadoff double he allowed to Milton Bradley in the second, stranded him. And then a runner at second in the fifth, stranded him as well. Nice catch by the ball boy.
All players down there. Look at this play. Sign him up.
And did it very smoothly, too. Didn't really cut the mustard or anything. Fouled away.
Remember the, what was it, Rex Barney in Baltimore?
Yes.
Give that fan a contract. Became part of every foul ball in the stadium down in Baltimore, the old Stadium Municipal. And then Camden Yards.
Rex Barney, an old-time pitcher for the Brooklyn Dodgers, too. Count 3-2.
It's in Municipal.
Yeah,
Memorial
that's Cleveland
Stadium.
Memorial Stadium.
I like that place.
You like Memorial Stadium?
I did.
That one is ripped to left field. And Langerhans makes it away. Hey, Saturday, July 10th, you have to check this out. And Sunday, July 11th, it's history in the making as Yes presents the first ever broadcast of baseball in 3D. The Yankees will take on the Mariners live in Seattle, and Yes will bring you the game as you've never seen it before, presented by Panasonic and DirecTV. 3D coverage starts Saturday, July 10th at 10. Call your cable or satellite provider for details on their 3D offering.
That's got to be cool.
I've heard it looks great.
So now if you don't have 3D TV, you can still get it?
You still get your regular. They're actually doing two separate broadcasts. It's going to be an additional channel. That one is grounded to third by Teixeira. And Lopez makes the play.
They're selling 3D TVs now.
Yeah, I think that seems to be the wave of the future. And I remember last year they did a hockey game in 3D. And it supposedly looked great. And that was a demo game done at Madison Square Garden. And I think they showed it at the theater there. Hey, 3D is the big thing in movies right now. Went to see Shrek in 3D. That was an experience. And Avatar. You can't picture me seeing Shrek? Well, you're laughing.
Yeah. Avatar, that was good.
You liked Avatar?
I did. Shrek's cool.
Shrek had everything. Humor, drama, pathos, romance. It was wonderful. Driven deep to center field, giving chase is Saunders. He's going to have to play it off the wall. Rodriguez motors into second with a double.
Alex getting a fastball up and away, driving that ball to center field. Looked about thigh high, stayed with it. Nice effort by Saunders, just off the wall. Alex's 19th double. Good swing, good approach. I'll tell you, when Alex has that look of right center field. That ended up being a little left of center field. Really, I just watching him over the years to see as key for him with his approach to that ball away. That ball was outer half, high enough for him to be able to pull that ball a little bit.
Now they're doing the smart thing, and this is how much they respect this guy. There's a lefty on the mound. First base is open there, 2 outs. They're going to intentionally walk Cano. Why mess with that? And they'll take their chance with Posada, who isn't even on deck. So with 2 outs, I guess he still had his catcher's gear on. Now he climbs out on deck. So Cano, who homered his last time up, is intentionally walked.
Yeah, that's absolutely, you know, you've arrived as a young player, best batting average in the game. You got Posada behind him.
So Roland Smith pitch count at 101 right now. A-Rod's at second and Cano is at first. 2-out rally as the Yankees try to build on a 2-0 lead. Posada at the plate. Posada is 3 for his last 23, so that's one of the reasons behind the move. And a strike. Count 0-2.
Go right after him.
Sean White warming up.
Doesn't take much for relievers to get ready. 8 to 15 pitches.
When you moved to the bullpen in your last year with the Yankees, did you find you warmed up quicker as a reliever than you did as a starter?
Yes, and you know what, Michael? I wish I had done it earlier, because you realize when you're a starting pitcher, you just say, oh, I got 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it took for you to think you got ready. You go down the pen, you got to get ready quickly. It's surprising, it really surprised me, because I was a guy that threw a lot of pitches to get ready for a start. You know, quickly, they'll call down and say, hey, you got the next batter. Next batter, you're running, and sure enough, you get there. And, you know, good relievers that, 10, 12 pitches, they're ready.
The 2-2. So you could have saved a lot of pitches in there.
A lot. Yeah. I mean, even though it's only warm-ups, you're still busting it out there, giving it game speed velocity. Certainly the last few.
Runners will go. And the 3-2, and he walked him. So now Roland Smith is tiring, and the bases are loaded with 2 outs. Let's go through that at bat pitch by pitch, and it's brought to you by Suzuki Kazashi.
Well, he went right after him. He looked wise, took a little off there, and then the fastball by him, 0-2 count. Now he elevates, trying to have Posada chase, throws a little two-seamer down the zone, throws a changeup out. Posada gets a good look at that, and then the ball cuts. And the last minute there, Posada, good look, good at bat. This is also another element of being able to warm up quickly. You always got a pitching coach to come out and give you some time.
This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees that may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Bases loaded for Granderson. And there's a strike. Yankees have 7 grand slams this year. I believe one of them was hit by Granderson. At that time, he was Grand Slanderson. 3-0-1. Not this time. Ground ball to first. Branyan beats Granderson to the bag, and Roland Smith has thrown a very solid 6 innings against the Yankees, who leave the bases loaded. We go to the 7th, 2-0 Yanks. Roland Smith, and he's getting some congratulations, but his catcher is still right there telling him he's not pitching the 7th.
Yeah, but that's good. You know what? You'd like to see that, Josh Bard, pumping him up, giving him some advice. Hey, that's the way you do it. Certain scenarios within the game where you're in connection.
Let's look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Fios TV, Internet, and Phone. This is Beyond Cable. This is Fios. Brett Cecil against A.J. Burnett. Our coverage begins at noon on Yes with the batting practice show. Verizon Wireless scoreboard, 2-0 Yankees. Milton Bradley, 2 for 2. A double and a single. And the 1-1. Outside, 2-1.
Well, with that double, the first pitch at his first at bat, a little slider coming inside, and then the second at bat, first pitch, he hit a fastball. Try to use his old arsenal against his friend. Last pitch was a changeup. Oh, fastball in. Back to the changeup.
Popped up and out of play. How does fatigue set in a pitcher, Al? Do you feel like you're out of breath? Is it hard to lift your arms? You just feel fatigue in your legs? How do you know when you're tired?
Legs. I always thought legs, torso, your stomach, midsection, your backside. You know, that to me started, you know, getting tired where you end up leaving the ball up.
Shattered bat, blooper to Cano. One away. I mean, just general soreness.
You feel weak.
Right.
Or, you know, soreness. Yeah. I always thought you really could see the flight of the ball of how it would be flat or up, and you fight yourself to get through that, but not really. And the only time you really feel winded is if you have a long inning, and you know that proverbial 12 to 15 pitches on average is what a pitcher's used to or conditioned. Obviously, with a couple walks, a couple hits, you know, you get that number up into that mid-20s range or high 20s. That's where you become fatigued, heart-wise. But that's not it. It's really your lower half.
Now, I never got a chance to ask you this over the first two broadcasts, and Brian Sweeney warming up for Seattle. Much has been made of your 162 pitch outing under Dallas Green before the Yankees traded you to Toronto. What did you think of keeping in Edwin Jackson for 149 pitches to pitch a no-hitter?
If I'm Edwin Jackson, I want to be in there.
Right.
You know, I saw the number, and I'm not really. I'm gonna say with my player hat, I want to be in the game.
But it's not you. What about did A.J. Hinch and the Diamondbacks do the right thing? You can't worry about what the players think.
I didn't see his pitch count in the ninth inning, but look, Michael, would you pull a guy with a no-hitter?
Wow.
As miserable a year that they're having?
That's a good point. You know, I remember Joe Girardi was going to pull out CC Sabathia against Tampa Bay, and that was the first week of the season. But Joe Girardi said, "We're trying to win a World Series here. I can't lose my guy." Some people doubted whether or not he would have pulled him, but he's the one who volunteered that information. Now, A.J. Hinch is not going to win a World Series at the Diamondbacks this year, but you also, in turn, can't jeopardize the player's career. Now, are you jeopardizing his career at 149? I'm not sure. I mean, some people buy it, some people don't. Now, they're giving him a couple days extra rest his next time out, but that's a lot of pitches in today's world.
I'm Jackson. I want the no-hitter. Give me a chance. They're 31-48. The D-backs having a bad year, 15.5 games back of the San Diego Padres. There's really not a whole lot been exciting to talk about in Arizona, certainly record-wise. I just couldn't imagine A.J. Hinch being the guy say, okay, you know, your pitch count is up to 130, 125. I'm not sure what his pitch count was in that ninth inning. That'll be all. Huh? So he was in a tough spot.
Oh, it's a difficult spot, and if you saw the shot of A.J. Hinch, he looked like he was agonizing over every pitch, because you're getting into an area that's dangerous, especially the way pitchers are trained now. They're trained, you know, you top out maybe 115. If you go to 120, it's a real push. He's about 30 over that. That's a lot.
But think about what we're saying, and I agree. And, you know, I think at 162 pitches that Dallas Green had kept me in, it was a cold night in April. I think it was my third start of the year. That to me is abusive. But, you know, there are numerous stories of guys not in pro ball that you know, can routinely pitch 130, 140 pitches. I'm not condoning it, but it happens. Certainly college programs will do it. You get to pro ball, and then the proverbial 100-pitch count is the number that we all look at now.
Now you wonder if CeCe's tiring just a bit. He walks Lopez. He's gone 2-0 on Josh Wilson, and quickly out to the mound is Dave Island.
Yeah, well, when you see the ball up like that, now you lose your bottom half, and this is the thing where you mentioned about what you feel. You can't really. It's not specific, Michael. You say, "Ooh, I'm tired," but you're starting to see things in your mechanics that break down. When the ball's up, it tells me that you're not using your lower half. And what happens is, especially in stadiums now with velocities, you try to find that little extra giddy up, and you end up overthrown. That's the danger. So that was a little fastball there at 86, and he topped out. May have been taken a little off of it. Let's see. We're going to stay back. Make sure you get down through it up top. That's pretty same to me.
Now, Al, we just looked this up. Edwin Jackson had thrown 134 pitches after 8. So he threw 15 in the 9th, which was fortunate. What if he has a 22, 25 pitch 9th? Then we're talking 160 or 159. 3-1? 3-2?
I don't know. I'd have kept him in.
Do you believe that Joe Girardi would have kept in Sabathia that first? You do?
No, he said I'll just take him for his word, but boy, that would have been tough. And I know it was early in the year, and it's a different situation.
3-2. I think there would have been a problem with CeCe to tell him he's not coming out. But, you know, the final word goes to the manager. And when you tell Joe, a lot of people don't believe that you take him out. He laughs. He goes, why did I bring it up? I'm the one who brought it up at the press conference. I wouldn't have brought it up. He said, I actually came out and said I was not going to let him pitch the 9th inning. He said, so why would I make that up? 3-2. Wilson putting together a good at-bat.
Well, not good thing for CeCe, but boy, that would have been a story. No hitter after 8 and you're pulling a guy.
I think everybody was relieved when Kelly Shoppach lined that single left field. I mean, they want CeCe to do well, but that would have been an unpopular decision. The 3-2. Fly ball, left center. Gardner will put it away for the second out. Come home to Yankee Stadium in 2010 to see the 27-time world champion New York Yankees in action. On July 4th, the Yankees take on the Blue Jays, and it's Ice Cream Bowl day. Oh, yeah. First 18,000 fans, 14 and younger, are going to receive a set of 27-time world champions Ice Cream Bowls, courtesy of Turkey Hill. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. I got a couple of those bowls from last year that had great use. Cereal, ice cream.
Oh, so big bowls.
Living
That's just
it.
the little cup or the helmet.
Oh, Franklin Gutierrez feeling a little bit better as they will pinch hit for Langerhans, who was 1 for 2. Left yesterday's game with a little bit of an upset stomach. Didn't start today. Scratched from the lineup because of flu-like symptoms. But here he is. Big at bat in the 7th. You want me to get you a couple of those balls out?
Yeah, would you?
Yep.
The way you're talking it up.
Oh, they're great. Then you could, I don't drink soup, Al, but you could use it for soup too.
Jack could have his Cinnamon Life cereal.
There you go. The 0-1.
You don't drink soup?
Never, ever.
Well,
you know why?
You don't drink it, right?
Right. Here's why, though. I just don't like the whole process. The slurping, I think that's not the way human beings should eat.
Spoon.
Yeah, but you still have to slurp it up the spoon.
Hey.
I'll pass. Runner at first, 2 outs. The 1-1 to Gutierrez. Grounded softly to third. Pena will go the short way, and that'll do it. So CeCe has completed 7 innings. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base at the end of 6.5 innings of play. It's time for the 7th inning stretch here at the stadium. Yankees are leading 2-0, but we are staying right where we are to honor America in the Bronx. Bob. By the way, Don Wakamatsu makes the call to the bullpen. brought to you by AT&T. Rethink possible. Ryan Rowland-Smith was good over 6, and now they turn it over to Brian Sweeney.
So you just getting a few innings, haven't been called up, has pitched, did a fine job his last outing, actually got the win out of relief against the Brewers. Only 1 hit, did an excellent job getting relief.
Outfield is changed up. Gutierrez in center, and Saunders moves from center to right. Langerhans is out of the game. And Gutierrez checking out the sun, which is trying to peek through the cloud cover overhead. So Sweeney will face Gardner, Pena, and Jeter on the Verizon Wireless scoreboard. It's 2-0 Yankees as they try to salvage the final game of this 3-game set. And there is a strike to Gardner. Gardner's 0 for 2, missed a couple of games after being hit on the right forearm in the Dodgers series. X-rays were negative, but he was quite sore. Now back in the lineup, he's 0 for 2 today. Fly ball to left and a ground ball to third.
Brian Sweeney, unique story, ended up being with the Mariners. His last time he pitched in the big leagues was 2006, and then spent 3 years in Japan, and now back with the Mariners.
That would have been great, by the way. You, and by the way, Sweeney is from Yonkers, so a local kid. You pitching in Japan. They would have loved you there.
I couldn't get him out.
Really?
Yeah, the first time they ever faced Ichiro was in one of those all-star games that, you know, Major League Baseball goes over, and their style of hitting, I would have had to change the way I pitched.
Why? Because your cutter's moving away and they're just slapping it to left anyway?
A lot of slapping. I know the left-handed, again, Ichiro was tough for me. I threw the cutter, and they were always just slicing and hitting little, you know, line drive grounders, and that was terrible. There's a couple starts. It was a lot of fun playing over there. You talk about energy and crowds.
Strike 3, Gardner down looking.
Good changeup. Sweeney, an arsenal of all different speeds, has shown an 88-mile-an-hour fastball, breaking ball, but that changeup really has been his outpit. Certainly not afraid to throw it a 3-2 count.
Take a look at the Yankees in-game box score brought to you by McDonald's. Yankees have just 5 hits. You got the home run by Cano, the RBI ground out by Teixeira. Not much production from the bottom of the order, although Posada has walked twice. And that's where we stand. Hits the Pena inside. We said that Sweeney's from Yonkers, and really that's literally about 6 minutes from here. If you get on the Deegan, you head north and the New York State Thruway, and one of the first exits, you're in Yonkers. So he must have a lot of family and friends here.
Yeah, Sweeney.
Was it a super thrill for your family to see you pitch at home? I mean, it must be unbelievable, right?
You know, and yes, obviously anytime something's new, but you know, I was 3 years out of high school from the Jersey Shore coming up, and you know, teammates with Ron Guidry and Dave Winfield and Ricky Henderson and Tommy John. You know, what a thrill. And yeah, that first year, Michael, in '87 call up, everybody, family, friends coming out. Then it gets to be old hat. Can't give tickets away.
That one is driven out to deep center field. Gutierrez drifts back and makes the play. Slick fielding center fielder. They believe in Sweeney. Because, you know, I've always said this when we show the families when a guy gets his first base hit. The families have lived it too. I mean, ever since you were a little kid, they've been at all the Little League games, and they've driven you to all the practices. I mean, they're invested as well. I mean, what a thrill it must be to sit at Yankee Stadium and, you know, see their son or brother or whatever pitching on the mound. That's pretty neat.
Well, especially with Sweeney, how he got back to the big leagues. I think it's a great story that given another opportunity. Like I said, the last time was 06 with the San Diego Padres, and then the 3 years with the Nippon Ham Fighters. You know, a lot of times guys, you know, they'll play until the uniform is taken off their back, and now here he is doing a nice job so far.
And he's 36 years old, so you know, for him to make it back at, you know, a lot of people would have given up. Well, I'm not getting back, and here he is.
You know, there's been and certainly, you know, when you haven't established yourself with multi-year contracts and made a lot of money, going to Japan for young, you know, marginal AAA, 4A players, it's make good money over there.
Comes inside on Jeter. Last night, Brian Sweeney had over 100 family and friends. They didn't get to see him pitch last night because only one guy pitched, and that was Felix Hernandez. One guy for the Mariners. The 2-1. Grounded deep to third. Lopez with the long throw, and they get Jeter for the final out. So Brian Sweeney comes on and pitches a 1-2-3 inning. Let's take this baby to the 8th. It's 2-0 Yanks. And won by Ryan Langerhans, and that's it. CC Sabathia has done a great job. Pitched a very strong game. Right now he's just waiting. Can't warm up as he has them filling in the landing hole there on the mound. I'm surprised that doesn't happen more, Al, because after 7 innings of pitching, the other guy's landing in a different spot, and it might create a hole that you don't want.
Well, you know what, and that's true. There are sometimes as a starter, and certainly with the 2 left-handers, you know, they may be on this part, you're over here, and then eventually it cuts out in between, and you have one big hole. Also, too, in the daytime, I think at nighttime when they water it down, it, you know, just holds up better. When it starts to get hot and it dries out in the sun, and it gets lumpy to where when you're landing, it actually kind of hurts if you land in the wrong spot.
Well, today and throughout the Yankee season on Yes, we are asking you to vote along with us for the Chevy Player of the Game. You can text your vote to 58772 or vote online at yesnetwork.com. Number 1, CC Sabathia. Number 2, Mark Teixeira. Number 3, Robinson Cano. Number 4, Ryan Roland Smith. Those are your candidates. Vote now and make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply.
Well, for CC, he's now completed at least 7 innings in 6 straight starts. If he gets to the 8 here, 8 innings, it'd be 3 in a row with 8. And that's your horse.
Well, time's running out to vote for your 2010 All-Star selections. That's right. You can help send your favorite Yankees to the All-Star game by voting up to 25 times at Yankees.com. Now, you can log on and vote exclusively at Yankees.com, but voting ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern tonight, so there's not much time. And that's one guy who really wants you to vote. I know he's not going public with it, but boy, does Nick Swisher want to make the All-Star game.
Wait, he's tweeting on it.
No, he's not.
Oh,
I told him he should.
Okay.
He said, I just feel funny doing that. That wouldn't be the right way to use that. And he goes, I'd feel cheap.
How do you feel about now with the electronic way of them doing it? You can vote up to 25 times. I think legitimately that fans are much more knowledgeable, and they're actually picking the true All-Stars. That once upon a time where, depending upon what stadium you were in, if it had more attendance, you had a better shot at making it that way.
I think that by voting online, you're probably eliminating some of the older fans that might not use computers like that. But I'm going to say something that's probably not going to be popular. If the game counts, like they keep saying, this time it counts, and a home field advantage, why are you letting fans vote the lineup? Would you let a fan vote the lineup for the 7th game of the World Series? I mean, either it's an exhibition game or it counts. Well, if it counts, I can't understand how you allow the public to choose the lineups. It doesn't make sense.
Well, it's a total, but 37. So you know, really outside of the first 3 innings. But with that said, I still think fans are more in tune to pick the right player than rather their, you know, the fan favorite.
Okay, then let me ask you this. Let me put you on the griddle here. Do you think that it should count for World Series? The World Series home field advantage? You think that that's good then if you're going to let non-baseball experts choose your starting lineup?
Well, aside from that, I think there's a better way of doing it, and I think they had to create more excitement or interest in the All-Star game, and I'm sure it had a lot to do with more to do with that than creating a game that now counts.
I'll throw another one at you then. Although you really danced around that beautifully, Baryshnikov. Here's the 3-0 to Bard, and he works a walk. Here we go. Should Steven Strasburg make the All-Star team? Because if it counts, wow, he's probably one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. But he's only hit 6 starts.
My player cap says no because 6 starts. So you have guys up to 17 starts.
Right.
CC 17 start. I love the guy. I think he's going to be fantastic. But, you know, was he an all-star from April until mid-July?
No.
He wasn't here long enough. The excitement for baseball and his stuff and all of the fantastic things that he's brought since he's been up, I could see why Major League Baseball would be excited to have him in the All-Star game and for the fans across the world to see a special arm. So I'm on both sides of it. As a player, I say no. As someone who has got interest in the game as a whole and to sell it, yeah, he'd be worthy based on what
Talent.
he's done in the short period of time he's been up. Yes.
Here's what I worry about, though, Al. Why would you cost a guy who's been there the whole year a spot? Let's say Billy Wagner, for instance, who's had an unbelievable year for the Braves. You know, what if he loses that spot because you just put Strasburg on? 102 pitches for Sabathia, who last inning started to lose the plate just a little bit, and he's thrown 6 straight balls right now. Pitch to Saunders. There's a strike. Just nipped the outside corner.
Yeah, that's where CC, you know, does it as well as anybody in the game. Just find the slot and the position in which you can put the ball in an area. And obviously, you know, this 2-0 lead is certainly not insurmountable, especially here at Yankee Stadium with left-handed hitter up.
Popped up. Jeter backpedaling and makes the play. Good play by Jeter. I think he was waiting to be bailed out by an outfielder, and the outfielder never got there.
Well, what happened, I really think off the bat, Derek thought it wasn't as far. Obviously, if he would realize that this ball was further, he'd have turned to his right and did a little shuffle step to run after it. You'd never want to backpedal as much as that. That ball off the bat, the end of the bat looked like it was just going to be a short little pop-up and certainly went far enough to the outfield. Neither Granderson or Gardner would call him off.
Well, here's a big-time play in the game. The Yankees are up just 2-0. Ichiro came into the game with a .396 batting average against CC and has 3 home runs as a left-handed batter. He's 0 for 3 today. He's a tying run in the batter's box.
Well, it's just before that pitch, you're going down and away here because of those numbers, Michael, and Ichiro's a guy that really is looking to spray the ball on the ground or left field. You do not want to flirt with any kind of danger on the inside part of the plate. I would stay hard down the way the whole time.
That time a breaking ball down and away, and the count 1-1. Now the danger with that is that's Ichiro's wheelhouse as well, so he's not going to be able to tie the game, but he could serve a single to left.
Okay. You know what? Single to left is okay. First and third, double to left, a little different story. Now it's 2-1 game with Ichiro at second.
Hot shot up the middle, just missed by Sabathia, a base hit to center. That was very close to being at least the try of a double play, but Sabathia didn't come up with it. So Ichiro does get his first hit of the afternoon.
Well, let's see if this hits off the bunting circle. It does. Oh, boy, CC just couldn't get to it. Hit hard enough. CC, now watch the way CC squares up. The good fielding pitchers are able to get square. He still has his left leg aiming toward third base and keep that throwing hand out of the way. I know it's a reactionary thing, but CC does it often when that ball's up the middle.
So first and second with 1 out. And here is Piggins. Pitch outside. The command not as sharp in this inning and last inning as it was for the first 6. So Bard, who led off the inning with a walk, and Ichiro is at first, who had a single. They're in at the corners for Piggins. Chases a pitch out of the zone. 1-1. Sabathia looking to pick up his 10th win of the year. The Yankees looking to salvage the final game of this 3-game set. 2 gems in the first 2 games, one by Lee and one by Hernandez. 2 complete games. CC still throwing hard. Count 1 and 2. Figgins has had just 1 RBI over his last 10 games. He has 19 on the season. And he is 0 for 3 today against Sabathia. He flied out to right, grounded to second, and lined out to second.
Put away pitch, usually down in the zone, either changeup running down away or slider back foot.
Just got a piece to stay alive.
Changeup up in the zone. CC, I have to believe with his pitch count up. See the changeup just getting out in front. Figgins not the location that CC wants. Branyan on deck. I would have to believe that it'll be his last at bat. Get through Figgins and then the left-handed Russell Branyan, the way Milton Bradley has faced him today, 2 for 3. Having Jabba ready for him.
That one is served towards second base, and Cano right there for the second out.
Well, he got the pitch that he wanted down in the zone. If certainly exactly off the end of the bat as Figgins did. The previous pitch being up. Now watch this good changeup. Posada giving the low glove out in front. Aggressive hitter. Figgins not able to lay off that pitch. Watch a hand get through. Ball cutting down in the zone. Just off the end of the bat. Resulted in a little pop-up.
CC had 112 pitches. His season high is 115, and he had that through 8 innings in his last start against the Dodgers on Friday night. Extra day rest because of the off day on Monday, and he deals high to Branyan. Another dangerous batter in this game. Branyan has the power to give the Mariners a lead. Branyan has a 9-game hitting streak. He's 11 for 36 during that streak. He's 0 for 3 tonight, this afternoon. The 1-0. Strike on the inside corner.
Well, also too with the losing 2 to the Mariners, and here now you have your horse on there. It looked like a ball up in the zone, but you see where Posada was setting up away. That's belt high. It looked like it was way inside, but Posada was on the outside corner, outstretched reach of his glove, ended up being on the inside part of the plate. Well, 3 fastballs in a row. Hooked that last fastball. Certainly respect the power of Russell Branyan. Let's see if he goes with a slider down the way. Keeping this ball in the outside part of the plate.
The 2-1. That one gets past Posada, and that's huge. Why? Because now the tying run is in scoring position at second base, and it's a fast runner in Ichiro. So now you don't have to think extra base hit. You don't have to think home run. A single might tie the game.
This looked like it took a little off. You know, when a catcher anticipates a pitch in a certain area, that looked like a pitch that Posada should have handled. End up being on the inside part of the plate. He just missed it.
And that's a pass ball. The potential to be a huge play in this game. So now it's 3-1 to Branyan. There it is, a base hit to right field. Nick Swisher fields. They're going to wave home Ichiro. 1 run scores, and Ichiro will score, and they are going to get Branyan for the final out. But a gigantic pass ball, and then a base hit to right field, and we have seen this game tied at 2. So CC's great game might have just been erased with 1 swing.
All we ask is that you keep doing what you've always done. The Lexus RX. Never has a vehicle been designed to feel so natural. Lease the 2010 RX 350 for $479 a month for 36 months, with $36.79 due at signing.
What had happened in... 2 runs in the 8th inning, and the Mariners have tied this game at 2. And Al, you just got the sense that this play was going to be very, very big in this inning.
Well, you know what? He sets up away, and actually, it almost looked like a strike, and that would have changed the entire bat. Obviously, he ended up calling it a ball, but instead of it being 3-1, it's 2-2. And then the next pitch, a breaking ball that just got too much in the middle of the plate. Swisher coming up, making a strong throw. There's on the yes-mo. Ball ended up being in the nitro zone, middle of the plate. Good swing from Branyan. A lot went on in that inning, and you called it, much different, obviously, with the first and second than the second and third. Nobody feels worse than Posada right now.
Season high 117 pitches for Sabathia. And he's hoping it wasn't all for naught. The Yankees could bail him out here in the bottom of the 8th. Nick Swisher leads off. New pitcher for Seattle. It's their closer, David Aardsma. And there's a strike. 16 saves for Aardsma. 0-4, though. This will be his 28th game. Count 1-1. We talked about Nick with the All-Star voting. He's moved up to 4th place among American League outfielders, and they have it on the scoreboard that Yankee fans could vote at Yankees.com until 11:59 tonight. And as I mentioned before, I know it would mean an awful lot to Swisher. Whether or not you think he deserves to be there, he's very, very close. So if you do think he deserves it, then you should vote for him today.
How far off is he?
I don't think it's a lot. Yeah. I mean, we can look up the figures right now, but he isn't 4th, so he's 1 away from getting in. Now, one thing that people don't understand about, everybody thinks that Joe Girardi could take all of his guys. It doesn't work that way, because the fans vote the starting lineup, then the players vote the next 8 players and 8 pitchers. Swisher swings and misses. And Joe Girardi essentially can choose 2 position players and 5 pitchers. And in his choices, he has to cover all the teams that didn't have a player selected, because everybody has to be represented at the All-Star game. So it's not like Joe could just load up on, all right, I'm going to take A-Rod, I'm going to take Swisher.
Which they were able to.
Yeah, they used to be able to do it, but not anymore. Not anymore.
Well, that's better. Especially to allow the players to have a say.
And it also takes some pressure off the manager, because there is pressure to take your own guy. You have to deal with him the whole year. The 0-1. That was a base hit to right center field. Gutierrez was playing deep to cut off the extra base hit, which is exactly what he did. So Teixeira picks up his 2nd hit of the afternoon.
Well, late in the game, no doubles. You have the outfielders play way back, almost in warning track depth, and see where Gutierrez cuts his ball off, making sure that Teixeira stays at first base. Concede a single with the 1 out. The defensive approach is always your 1 pitch away from getting out of it with a double play ball.
Here's Rodriguez, who doubled over the head of Saunders his last time up in center, but now Gutierrez is in center, and Alex fouls that back. So Alex 1 for 3. He's 0 for 4 lifetime against Aardsma, and as Aardsma's last 6 games, 4 2/3 innings, 2 hits, has not allowed a run, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts.
Talk about double play depth. Look where he is, a couple feet from the warning track, making sure that the ball stays in front of him.
That one is driven deep to right. Going back, Ichiro leaps. See ya! A 2-run home run for Alex Rodriguez, and the Yankees have retaken the lead. They're up 4-2. Alex's 595th career home run, and his 12th of the season. A big blast to give the Yankees a 2-run lead. I guess Ichiro wasn't deep enough.
I was going to say that. You can't defend against a ball over the fence. Ardsma supplying the power. Alex Rodriguez with his 12th home run. You know, when Alex is swinging the ball well, and gets to the ball, 595 home runs, he really makes any field look small, especially that right center field. CC feeling the appreciation there, getting a chance for the W next to his name.
Cano lost one down the left field line, and Saunders makes the play. For Alex, it's his 11th go-ahead hit of the year, and the reason that CC gave him a hug is now CC can still pick up the win.
Look how strong that is, Michael. High up in the zone, allows the ball to track deep enough into the zone. I said where Ichiro was. No, sorry. Spider-Man is not out today. That is a strong man right there going the other way. 95 mile-an-hour plus fastball up in the letter high.
Well, Alex has 4 home runs in his last 8 games, and as Al said, showing power, pitch up in the zone, fighting it the other way, and driving it into the seats. So 4 home runs in his last 8 games, and he had 2 in his previous 25. So he's chasing 600, now 595 for his career. 12 homers now, and 56 runs batted in. As Posada fouls it away. And you know Posada has to feel pretty good because now that pass ball doesn't loom as large. And Alex not only chasing 600, but chasing Sammy Sosa. And shares a laugh with the captain as Posada down looking. So the Mariners bring in their closer, and he ends up not closing anything as A-Rod hits a go-ahead 2-run home run off of Ardsma. And CC loves it because he might pick up his 10th win. So the Yankees will now go to the 9th. Yankees Baseball on Yes is brought to you in part by J&R Music and Computer World, and by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicle of the New York Yankees. Well, CC Sabathia, 8 innings, 2 runs, and he can get the win if Mariano Rivera picks up his 18th save. Mariano is 30th game of the year, 0.92 ERA, 12 hits in 29 and a third inning, 29 strikeouts, so about a strikeout per inning. And in his last 14 games, Al, 16 innings pitched, 4 hits, no runs, 3 walks, and 18 strikeouts.
You want to say that he reinvents himself, but he really doesn't. Just tremendous stuff. Everybody knows about his cutter. I think it's really more about his command and his ability to just stay with the same rhythmic motion and make pitches. A marvel to watch.
Here's Milton Bradley. And a strike. Swing and a miss. And the 0-2 buzzed him upstairs.
See, now that the previous pitch was a little two-seamer. I say about reinventing. He's got the great cutter, but he's throwing more of a two-seamer, and then to keep the right-handed batters away from that cutter, which would run away from the righty, is that pitch right there, keeping him, Milton Bradley, honest. This is up and in after a two-seamer. See if he goes with that cutter down the way.
The 1-2. He did. Count 3-2.
Cutter away, cutter inside corner, missing 4 or 5 inches.
Bradley trying to get on. Rips it foul. Bradley had a good day against Sabathia, 2 for 3, double, single, popped a second. Yankees scored 2 runs early in the first inning, Infield single by Jeter, double by Swisher, an RBI ground out by Teixeira. In the 4th inning, a solo home run by Cano. They held that 2-0 lead until the 8th. A walk to Bard, a pop-up by Saunders, a single to center by Ichiro, a pop-up to Figgins while Branyan's up, a pass ball allowing the runners to move up, and then Branyan, a 2-run single to right, and he was caught stretching going to second for the final out. But Alex Rodriguez in the 8th inning with 1 out hit a 2-run home run off David Archma. And that's where we stand, 4-2. That one's lofted deep to right. Swisher bat in front of the scoreboard makes the play. 1 out. Let's take a look now at the Land Rover drive of the game. Why get a car when you can own a Land Rover?
Well, we just saw it in a 2-2 tie. David Archma fastball up in the zone. Too far for Ichiro, making it a 4-2 game. Alex Rodriguez's 12th home run. That 2-run homer right now stands the difference. 56 RBIs on the season. Land Rover drive of the game.
Here's Lopez with 1 out. Grounded to third. Pena. And the Yankees are 1 out away. And after that final out, don't miss the WB Mason postgame. Bob Lorenz, Jack Curry, they're going to have highlights and analysis from this series finale and also from around the Major League. Plus, Kimberly Jones will talk to the key players in the clubhouse. It's all coming up on the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. And here's Josh Wilson, last hope for the Mariners. Mo deals. 1-0. Strike. Count 1-1. Andy Pettit was talking about Mariano yesterday. He said the thing that's amazing about Mariano, he's 40 years old and he's throwing harder than he has in about 3 years. He said that just doesn't happen. And that one's 92 miles an hour. Last year he was living at about 89. This year he's actually gotten some pitches up to 95.
And just talking about the Mariano with the cutter during this appearance right here, a lot of pitches on the inside part of the plate and the 2-seamer running in on the righty.
And the 1-2. Swung on and missed. He got him. And the Yankees win this one 4-2. Mariano works a 1-2-3 9th inning. And Alex Rodriguez's 2-run home run in the 8th helps the Yankees salvage the final game of this 3-game set. You got to stick around for the post-game show to find out who's today's Chevy player of the game. Well, Sabathia gets the win in this one. He's now won 6 straight starts. Alex Rodriguez with the game-winning home run to right field. And here is the final out.
Well, after a lot of 2-seamers and cutters on the inside part of the plate, there is the patented cutter from Mariano Rivera, running that ball away from Josh Wilson. Beautiful delivery. Watched it so many times. Consistency. This is it right here. The picture of it. Mariano, that ball cutting away, just flailing at it. No chance.
With the victory, CC picks up his 10th, and he's way ahead of his 2009 pace when he picked up his 10th win on July 23rd. Remember, he went on to win 19 games last year for the Yankees, his first season with the Bombers. But the reason he got the win was Alex's 595th career home run, and Alex Rodriguez is standing with Kimberly Jones. Kim?
Since you just mentioned it, Alex, look at those numbers. Pretty nice round number, not the one you're looking for, 595.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big one. We needed to win today. We ran into a wave of good pitching on Friday and Saturday night, really as good as it gets. And today we responded a little bit better.
This was your 11th go-ahead hit of the season, but CC was happier than anyone. I think he gets the win out of it. What did he say when he hugged you?
Well, I mean, he did a great job. I mean, he pitched his butt off today, and it was he got us 8 strong innings, and we got the last hit that counted.
Does this look familiar to you from CC, like he's on one of those rolls?
Well, it seems like he's getting stronger, and he's getting in a row a little bit, and that's what we like to see from the big guy.
Let's talk about you. 4 home runs in your last 8 games. Joe Girardi always says of you they come in bunches. Does it feel that way?
Well, I hope he's right. Certainly today was a big one, and For me, I like when I hit the ball over the field, the double to center field, and then the home run to right. Those are hopefully a sign of good things to come.
How do you go the other way, a ball up in the zone, 95-mile-per-hour fastball?
I have no idea. I saw a ball, I swung as hard as I could, and the ball went out.
You always make it sound easy. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Ken.
Michael?
Thank you, Kimberly. I think Alex is a little tired from the West Coast. He thought we were playing on Friday, Saturday, and that this was Sunday, but it was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Alex has a lot to be happy about. We got an award to give out, and then the WB Mason postgame show coming up.
WB Mason Yankees postgame. It's a 4-2 Yankees win. CC Sabathia wins his 6th straight start, and Alex Rodriguez comes up with a big home run in the bottom of the 8th inning. It proves to be the game winner, his 2nd hit of the ball game, home run number 12 on the season, and RBIs number 55 and 56. Let's hear from Joe Girardi about it. The manager's report brought to you by Geico.
He swung the bat really well for us and has been extremely productive. And, that at bat, he gets on top of a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and is able to hit it to right field. And that's a big hit for our club, seeing that, we're winning this game 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, and then they score 2 runs and get CC his 10th win.
At the time of the pass ball, given that it's Ichiro who goes to second, did you think that was a dangerous pass ball? He's now in scoring.
Well, now they're in scoring position. And, with Branyan, you're in scoring position at first base, too. I mean, if he hits any ball in the gap, probably Ichiro's going to score.
Did CC's outing today seem like the similar ones that he's also strung together?
Yeah, he's been really, really good for us. And I thought he had a great outing today.
Ben and Ken.
Joe, off the bat, did you think A-Rod's ball was out?
I wasn't sure. It's been a lot harder for me to tell this year than last year. With Alex, he's so big and strong. You're never sure, but he hit it in the right spot.
Kenny.
That was my question, but I'll ask another one.
Oh, you're only allowed one.
Yeah. Were you surprised at all when they intentionally walked Cano, given there was a lefty pitcher there?
Well, I mean, Robbie's been so hot and so consistent for us. I think anytime you see a lefty walk Robbie, even though he hits lefties just like Roddy's, I was a little bit, because Georgie swings the bat well off of lefties too. But Robbie's been a hot hitter. We should read all this. Maybe they shouldn't put all them numbers on the board.
Right before the 8th, the mound needed work. What was wrong with it, and did it bother Sabathia?
You'll have to ask CC. I wasn't sure. I noticed they worked on it, so obviously maybe the kid that came in the bottom of the 7th dug a hole, and CC didn't like it.
In the back right, Joe.
I'm just guessing, though, George.
Joe, just talk about CC coming through after the 2 losses, the way he pitched today to kind of be the stopper today.
Well, CC's done that since he's been here for us, and that's just the type of pitcher that he is. And we didn't give him a lot of wiggle room, but I thought he shut Seattle down today. And, it's what you expect from your ace. When you're in a little losing streak, that's what aces do.
Sweeney.
Joe, I know you're confident at home, but what kind of a wave of emotion is that within about 5 minutes when you're ahead, you're tied, and now you're ahead again?
I mean, obviously, it's a real positive emotion. Didn't really change my plan. Mo was coming in, so I didn't have to change that thought process. But, I mean, it's great, because CC was 1 out away from, getting through the 8th and leading 2-0, and then quickly, we get 2 runs, and it's nice.
Brian in the middle, Joe.
You talked about hitters and looking at runs driven in and runs scored as a measurement. I mean, so with Alex, I guess how important is his power or not to the offense? I mean, if he's driving in runs one way or the other, does it matter to you, or is there an added bonus when he's starting to swing the bat the way he has the last couple of weeks?
Oh, it's an added bonus, and you're probably going to have a few more RBIs if you're hitting home runs, but. I mean, you can be a really good hitter in those type of situations and drive in a lot of runs. And I look at the total production. You can hit 40 home runs and have 80 RBIs, and you're going to say, where are all the RBIs? So for me, it's the total production that's the most important. But sometimes when you hit home runs, you get big innings.
Kim.
Joe, I know Robbie's numbers across the board are outstanding, but his 10 home runs off lefties leads the majors.
To what do you attribute that specifically, besides the fact that he's really good? And does any of it have to do with Kevin Long doing all that extra work with him, and Long being a lefty, and Robbie drills out on the field so much with him separately?
Well, I think, there's a couple things. Robbie's really talented, number one. Number two, Robbie works very, very hard, extremely hard at what he does. And number three, Robbie plays every day. It doesn't, he's used to seeing lefties every day and them bringing in relievers to face him. It's not a guy that's ever been platooned. And K. Long works very hard, and they talk situations. So, I think you put all those things together, because sometimes as a young player you can get targeted as a platoon player. Robbie never was.
Anthony? Yeah.
Joe, Alex is getting closer to a milestone home run. Now, he's going to tell us he's not thinking about it, but as he gets closer and closer, is there any way he cannot be thinking about it?
I would think it'd be pretty hard. I didn't have a lot of milestones, so I can't really tell you what he's experienced. But, I think it's got to be somewhat in the back of his head. Maybe when he gets in the box, he doesn't think about it, but people are going to ask him about it. You're going to see it in the papers sometimes. I don't know how much he reads the papers, the scoreboard. It's going to be hard to ignore, but I'm not sure how much it will get in his head once he gets in the box.
All right, now among those talking to Joe Girardi there and asking questions are Kim Jones, and she has just reported in that the Yankees are expected to have Dustin Mosley with them. You may have heard that name over the past day or two. With them tomorrow, they will have to make a corresponding roster move. Jack, just let me ask you about that. He's a pitcher right now, a guy with Major League experience down at Scranton Wilkes-Barre. What does it mean for the club?
Right, interesting decision. It was a contract opt-out, Bob. If they wanted to hang on to him, they had to make a move to bring him to the Major Leagues. He was 4-4 with a 4.21 earned run average at Scranton. What I read into this is, though those numbers don't look great, is the Yankees saw enough of him at Scranton that they think he could provide some help and they didn't want to lose him. I would think that Chad Gaudin could be the guy who might end up going.
All right, so ultimately, Kim will have more information on that tomorrow on the pregame. I'm sure we'll know more about it over the course of the night as well. Now, meantime, let's get to the game highlights of this afternoon's action presented by Land Rover. We'll start bottom of the first. Great opportunity for the Yankees. Second and third, nobody out. Mark Teixeira, the grounder. Jeter will score. Unfortunately, that was it for the Yankees. A second and third, nobody out. They only got a run out of it, but still, they're on the board 1-0. Top of the fourth, Jose Lopez grounding one to third with 2 outs. Ramiro Pena got to start as A-Rod DH'd. Nice play there to get him out. And then bottom of the fourth, and talk about picking teammates up, kind of a theme in this game. Right after A-Rod grounded into a double play, Robbie Cano puts one on the board, Jack.
Right, Bob. He saw a slider there that he liked. The pitch was up. He drills it into the bullpen there, and what a success story and what great success he's had against lefties. Here we see that sweet swing again. That's his 10th home run off left-handed pitchers this year to lead the major leagues.
16th of the season for Robbie. Bottom of the sixth, the Yankees threatened with the bases loaded, but Curtis Granderson grounds out, and that was it. Ryan Rowland-Smith gets out of a bases-loaded jam. Top of the seventh, Franklin Gutierrez grounding one to third. Pena Fields tosses to second. So CeCe, no runs allowed through 7, just 3 hits. But then top of the 8th, this changes on a breaking ball that Posada couldn't handle.
Posada would like to hit the reset button on that one, Bob. It just looks like he's set up outside, doesn't get inside quick enough. That's his 4th pass ball. And we see it's going to be costly.
Yeah, it is. Second and third now, 2 outs, and that's Russell Branyan, who's hit well in this series. Base hit to right. Teixeira will cut it off. They got Branyan hung out to drive at the 2-run score to tie the game, so the damage done. We're even at 2. But then bottom of the 8th, we've seen it already. Alex, is this an eyeball? It is eye level.
You said Cano picked up Alex earlier. Here's A-Rod picking up Posada, just taking that 94-mile-per-hour fastball, hitting it the other way, and I don't know what was more interesting, Bob, the swing and the home run or the reaction afterwards. A lot of his teammates in the dugout giggling and chuckling with him when he got back.
Yeah, he had kind of a look of chagrin on his face. I mean, surprised it went out maybe. Top of the 9th, Mo in. 14 straight scoreless appearances entering today. Make it 15. He strikes out Josh Wilson swinging to end the game. So Mariano picks up his 18th save of the season. Sabathia now 10 wins, only the second time prior to the All-Star break that he has notched 10 wins, and he's still got a couple opportunities, as Jack has told us, prior to the All-Star break to get a couple more. All right, let's check out the Yankees' upcoming schedule, and it comes your way courtesy of Jaguar. Mariners are out of town, and in come the Blue Jays, fresh off being swept in Cleveland over the last 4 games. all afternoon games over the July 4th weekend. We hope you'll join us starting tomorrow at noon with Chris Sheeran and the BP Show. And then it is off to the West Coast once again for 3 against the Oakland A's and 4 in Seattle against these same Mariners. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the big fella, CC Sabathia, picking up a win, getting picked up by his teammates. We'll hear all about it next. Once again on the WB Mason postgame, Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry with you. We went into this one thinking it was lopsided in terms of pitching. Sabathia versus Roland Smith. Roland Smith did a nice job, allowed just 2 runs, while CC allowed none over the first 7, and ultimately he ended up getting the win. Here's the big fella.
I've been pitching pretty well. These guys have been scoring a lot of runs. I got the run support late today. Just trying to go out there and battle and keep our team in the game and, trying to win games.
For a second, do you say to yourself, man, that pass ball might end up costing us here?
No, not while I'm out there, and that's part of the game. One pitch away from, leaving with a 2-0 lead and getting Mo in there. But, Russ got to pitch up, put a good swing on it, and tie the game up. But Al came through for us in the bottom of the 8th, so that was big.
Yeah, how much did you love that ball, seeing that ball leave the park, and then you hugged Alex when he got to the dugout?
Yeah, it was funny because I think he thought it was the 9th inning. So he was waiting for everybody to be out there with pies and stuff. So, I was definitely excited, though.
Is that what you told him?
Well, he told me, he was like, I thought it was the 9th inning, so that was pretty funny.
CC, did you feel a sense of being the stopper today after the 2-game losing streak to come in and, get this team back on?
Yeah, well, you never want to get swept. And, I felt like, I didn't have really good command from the start, so I was just trying to go out there and battle and, keep us in the game, and we ended up getting a win.
CC, what was going on with the mound? What was going on with the
it was just a hole. I think it was real dry, so it was a big hole, on the rubber and down in the landing spot, so I just was trying to get it fixed.
See, as much as you're going to like a win anyway, the fact that you get those runs in the bottom of the 8th and you do get the W, that adds to the excitement.
Yeah, that was big. It would have been tough for me to sleep, giving up runs in the top of the 8th, so close to getting the ball to Mo with 2 outs, lefty up there. So, to be able to get the runs and win the game definitely helps.
CC, real early in this one, you just had the 1-0 lead, and then they doubled a lead off the second, but you keep the guy at second base. At that moment in the game, is that a big one?
Yeah, I think so. Anytime you can, give up a leadoff double, or you got, runners on third base, scoring position with less than 2 outs, to hold them is huge. And, their guy was pitching pretty good and keeping us off balance, so I was just trying to go out there and make pitches.
Well, these numbers tell a great story about where CC's at right now. 6 wins in his last 6 starts, the ERA at 2. And when he started that interview, he said pitching pretty well right now. He wasn't saying that in May when he was struggling, but you can tell he feels pretty good about himself.
He does feel great about himself, Bob, and he should, and the Yankees should feel good about him. The thing beyond those numbers that jumps out to me is when you spend any time around CC Sabathia, this is a guy who expects to do what he's doing right now. He doesn't want to go out there and be a guy who pitches to a 4.5 ERA. He thinks he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he goes out there and he tries to prove it every 5th day. These last 6 starts, he has proven it, pitching as well as anybody in baseball.
And last 3 starts, he's given him at least 8 innings, so Sabathia is on a roll right now. All right, we'll take another break. When we come back, there was one other ball game this afternoon. The Jays in action. They're coming to town next. Did they leave Cleveland with a win or a loss?